I found the ISCA after I'd been in the service for a long time. I'd been in iRacing for well over a decade and spent most of my time in NASCAR series, a lot of fixed racing for the most part, and really just got to a point in my iRacing career where I really wanted to get involved in open setup racing versus fixed, partially because I was just looking for a little higher level of competition, maybe a little cleaner driving and maybe get away from some of the challenges that go along with fixed racing on the service. And it took me a while as I was really searching out leagues because I kind of had a very specific thing I was looking for. A, I wanted to be an established league. B, I just really wanted clean, quality drivers to be racing around. And once I found the ISCA, I found out really quick that it was going to check all those boxes, and I've been with the ISCA ever since. I think the things I like the most about the ISCA is it's a developmental league, but it's also a league that's got some veteran drivers. And I think really what I was looking to do was try to surround myself with some people to better my talent, my skill, and my craft. And that's one thing the ISCA has really delivered. It's got great quality drivers. You learn how to race in close quarters around some of these other people. And I think the other thing, when you do look at the developmental side, once I joined the ICA, my I rating has soared, my safety rating is better than it's ever been. And it's also really great to see drivers that join our league, really excel over time, some of which stay with the league and some that maybe move on to some bigger things, which is really exciting. We have a great history of developing drivers. We have a great alumni list. But I just really enjoy, participating in the league and just continue to get better each week that goes by. Yeah, the competition in the ISCA is awesome. I think a lot of us talk about it, each week of just how blessed we are to have such a high level of driving capabilities and just a quality group of drivers overall. And I think that's just still, I think the thing I like the most about the ISCA. You build a lot of friendships, a lot of camaraderie. We're really competitive on Thursday and Saturday nights, but it's really fun also after the race to kind of review the race start to finish. And we do a lot of coaching about what's working, what's not working. Not saying we give away all of our secrets, but I think anyone that joins it, there's a common theme. They get better each week, their I rating goes up. We see them in strength of field races over time, week in, week out. And that's just something that's really fun. Even though we compete, we really appreciate the league we participate in. And I think in most cases, we're highly competitive with some of the best and cleanest drivers on the service. And if you like long green flag runs, we don't have a lot of cautions in our races. We tend to have green flag pit stops. But those are just some things that I really enjoy about the league the most, is the quality of the competition, the lack of cautions, and just the long runs that really leads to some really awesome racing. Yeah, I think people that should join the ISCA are people like myself. When I go back a few years ago and I was really looking to up my game and get involved in open setup league racing, for so long I just wasn't involved in that because I just didn't, I didn't seek it out, but I really didn't also know how to get started. And once I started doing research, it was a really easy choice that the ICA was a place I really wanted to be and get involved with. And all those things I talked about earlier have happened to me, from improving I rating, improving my skill. And, I'm someone that I really enjoy the ICA. I'll probably stay there, but don't think that, if you're coming to the ICA, that it's something long-term. That in some cases you can find a long-term home like a lot of us, but we develop drivers, and ultimately we'd like to see our drivers participate for a period of time and hopefully move their way up the ranks, whether that be into Road to Pro or Contender Series, or hopefully get to the Coke Series. That's really the goal of what we want to be, is an established league with great drivers, but also a league that's going to develop drivers into bigger and better things.
Hello and welcome everyone to the ISCA Saturday Cup Series. As we are here at Circuit of the Americas once again, we had a thrilling race on Thursday. Of course, here we are again on this Saturday evening, and definitely looking for another thrilling one with the Texas Day Brazil 161 at the Circuit of the Americas. Of course, this is going to be a 47-lap race with no cautions. Of course, definitely going to be a lot of points up for grab here for sure. I know fastest in practice thus far has been Chris Severa, but it looks like Brandon Passalacqua right now on the preemptive poll, I should say, potential poll. Of course, my name's Brian Britt, and I'm joined in the booth by none other than Big Al. Big Al, do you read me? How you doing?
Hey, doing pretty good, Brian. Excited to be back here at the Circuit of the Americas once again, back in good old Austin, Texas.
Yeah, definitely going to be an exciting one here for sure. Of course, only 9 drivers, but I think these guys are going to put on a good show for us. I do hope so. As we see a lot of drivers, very similar pace. Got guys that are kind of in that mid 215 lap range. We also got Brandon Passalacqua and Chris Severa. I think those are going to be the ones that are going to be fighting for this win. So we'll have to wait and see which one of them is going to be able to survive the onslaught. This almost like an endurance race is kind of what you mentioned on Thursday, I remember. But definitely going to be an exciting one, to say the least. I think that these guys are going to be turning some really good laps. It's all going to be about making sure you don't make mistakes. I think that's going to be the big thing about it, because you're not going to have a caution to come and save you. Speaking of which, let's take a look at the race facts coming into tonight's race. Pulling it up right now, as I said before, 47 laps on the docket. Stages are 9 and 21, so I do believe coming to 10 on that 9th lap will be the end of stage 1. No caution will fly, and the same thing goes for lap 22. No caution will fly, and also incident counts are going to be a main factor here tonight as well, as 17 makes it to where you have to do a drive-through penalty. If you get 25 X's, you will have to actually be disqualified, and that is definitely not what you want to see. We saw some people on Thursday get very, very close to that dreaded 25. I know Jose Acosta was one that definitely got very, very close to it. Of course, we have 4 sets of tires down in the pits, 5 altogether, including the ones that these guys are going to start with. And what we mean when we talk about incident counts is if these guys go off the track, that will result in a 1X. If you spin out, that will result in a 2X. If you have car contact with another driver or competitor, that will result in a 4X, which if these guys get above those certain criteria, that will cause dangerous, definitely, I'd say, results and, consequences. What you say, Big Al?
Yeah, absolutely, Brian, because the one thing you're going to have to understand, people at home, they might not understand that 1X, but that 1X, for drivers who really haven't mastered the track, if you will, that they're still kind of cutting that one corner too close, that 1X, it multiplies itself, and the next thing you know, it's really pretty quick that drivers are going to find themselves in danger. Now, that's going to be the one thing we're going to be watching tonight, because even though we only got 9 cars, you still have to beat the track itself. It's not necessarily about racing the cars, but it's about trying to make sure that you're clean so you don't actually incur those penalties.
100%. Take a look at the Super Point standings right quick while we have a moment. Of course, Chris Severa has been the winningest driver thus far here in this season. Have had 5 races so far, and he has won 4 of them. Of course, the other win went to, I do believe, Clayton Hoffman. Of course, Kenny Powell sits in second place in the point, 48 points back. Third place, Jose Acosta. Fourth place, Kendall LeVron. Don't see Kendall here tonight, so he might be dropping down through the board, or through the standings there. Fifth place, Darren Mullins. Also don't see him. Frank Flores could get him some points here tonight, as he is out there for sure and ran to the 5th fastest qualifying lap thus far. 7th place, Greg Wachinski. He's out there and ready for competition. Joey Preview, of course, don't see him out there. Brandon Passalacqua is out there, so he should be able to gain some points. Also, Austin Derbyshire should be able to gain some points, too. I know he's been turning some really good laps, but now that qualifying is wrapping up, I think now's a good time to play our national anthem, Big Al.
Yeah. Let it roll.
Race fans, it is time for those most famous words in motorsports.
Driver, start your engine!
Hey everybody, my name is Warren Maddox. I am the president of Ultimate Experience Outdoors. Our mission, we are dedicated to taking veterans, first responders, youth, and Gold Star family members on outdoor excursions across the country.
Support for our mission has many forms, from camp cooks to the great storytellers, some buddies with the band, maybe you just want to build a campfire and sit around and listen. Nothing goes unnoticed.
Camaraderie is reborn. The acceptance among the men and women that took an oath.
Whether it was decades ago or recently renewed, but never forgotten.
If you feel like you could help us, please visit our website, www.uxonation.org.
There, you can register to hunt, sign up to sponsor an event, or even donate to us so we can continue to execute our mission.
Oh my gosh, I'm so comfortable, bro. We get a hug, man. What have you done, Jim?
We need your help to hold the line once again.
Experience traditional Brazilian cuisine, served with the hospitality that Texas is famous for. Here at Texas de Brazil, you simply turn your card to green, and expert carvers serve you fine cuts of beef, lamb, pork, chicken, and Brazilian sausage. Turn your card to red when you want a break. Then repeat. Make reservations now at texasdebrazil.com.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. We have the grid set for this evening's action. Brandon Pasalacqua going to be starting up on the pole with Gary Adamson starting in second place. Definitely a strong performance from Gary Adamson so far. Third place, Austin Darbyshire. Kenny Powell starts in fourth place. Fifth place, Frank Flores. Greg Wachinski in sixth place. Seventh place, Jose Acosta. Pedro Enrique, a last-minute guest joining us. He's a high rating guy. Ninth place, Chris Severa, starting way back in the back here. Paul Olson in 10th. Interested to see that Pedro, he was a road course ringer, Big Al, from what we remember, right?
Oh, he still is a road course ringer. That's right. Pedro Enrique. Going to be watching him real close here tonight, Brian, because I think he's going to add a little bit of salt to the punch, if you will.
No, I definitely think so for sure. I think he's going to definitely pump up a little bit of the action out here for sure. I know Chris Severa was the fastest in practice tonight, so I'm wondering why he wasn't able to get a qualifying run in. As we see, the pace car does dip down pit road as we get ready for the green flag for the first time. Of course, Brandon Pasalacqua had a pretty good performance on Thursday. I expect to see him up there in contention for the win. And like I said before, I'm impressed with Gary Adamson with his ability to qualify on the outside pole. I think this might be one of his highest qualifying efforts ever as the green flag does come out.
Yep, now it's going to be about trying to make this thing last for a while, Brian. It's going to be tricky. It's not going to be easy. Drivers are going to have to really kind of pull the punches out and see what's going on. I think that's why Chris Rivera elected to start so far back in the field, but look at him go, already up to 5th place now. Going to be battling alongside his G&G teammate, the 24 Kenny Powell, but I don't think that teammate stuff really works here. It works for points at the end of this thing, but right now, when a road course is happening, you're really just racing yourself in the track. There's no teammates, if you will. There's no draft that you need. It's just about trying to get through this course unscathed.
Yeah, that's definitely going to be the key for sure. As we do see Chris Rivera all over the back end of the 24. The 24 getting a little bit loose off the corner there.
Yeah, looked like Jose Acosta there got a little bit squirrely for the boys.
Gary Adamson still able to hold on to that second place position. Now Austin Derbyshire under fire from the 62. Of course, I know Austin, good friends with me and you, Big Al. He's been putting a lot of time in here at COTA. And, you know, definitely showing right now. But how do you go against and defend a man like Chris Rivera?
Yeah, I got nothing but love for Austin Derbyshire. Going to be watching him. Look, we're going to get up close and personal with each one of these drivers here tonight, man, because they're all going to be running through this course on their own. Had one driver go real wide right there. I do believe that was going to be Franco Flores. Now, that's going to cause him to kind of get caught up with Paul Olsen. Now, these guys are going to be in the back. But while we're in the back, let's talk about Paul Olsen, man.
Yeah, Paul Olsen, definitely glad to have him out here in the grid. I know he definitely said, I talked to him a little bit today, and he mentioned something about after that Thursday race, his leg was hurting quite substantially trying to get on them brakes like he was. So he really showed how much the endurance aspect of this race really plays.
Yeah, it's huge. That's going to be a big aspect. So really glad that Paul actually came back out here tonight to be able to kind of tangle in with these guys to kind of keep it mixed up. Because, Brian, I'm telling you, the aptitude, the fortitude, these are the things we're going to be talking about tonight, the endurance. And so right now I want to talk about 43 while he's still in this thing, because I kind of got a feeling as the race goes on, you know, Paul might kind of succumb to the element that is known as COTA.
Yeah, this is definitely a tough track for sure, and only the hardy seem to survive. Of course, not trying to say anything bad about Paul Olsen, but this is definitely a tough racetrack that takes a lot of time and thousands of laps, it does appear. Pedro Enrique, though, we're looking on board with him at the moment. He, of course, we talked about him being somewhat of a road course ringer. He's going to be seeing if he can't get by Austin Derbyshire to see if he can't get up into 4th place.
Yeah, you just keep watching Pedro, because this is what he does. He understands the track. He understands the car. And this one thing that NASCAR did bring that makes a big difference, they brought a car to the track that a capable driver can actually take and manipulate and do well with. You know, you don't have to do anything, you know, extraordinary with these cars to be great. If you can drive these cars.
Yeah, of course, even in the NASCAR race tomorrow, I do believe there's 2 F1 drivers for IMSA, or 2 F1 champions, I should say, for IMSA championship drivers in there as well. So a lot of road course, acumen going to be presented tomorrow, and definitely going to be interesting to see how it, kind of stacks up to what we see here in the ISCA, as we see the 114 getting really close to the back there of the 91 of Austin Derbyshire. Derbyshire getting a little bit loose through these S's.
You know, that's a lot to do with the pressure just being applied. You know, when you got somebody on your rear end like that, it affects the way you're braking, because even that lead car, man, he is looking in his relative, he's looking in his rear view, and he is definitely not wanting to get pancaked, if you will, by the car that's behind him. I wish we weren't human, but that's the truth. Until we start putting bots in these things, you know, that's just the human aspect. That's one of the things we're going to have to kind of keep in mind here, man. But isn't this great? The 6, though, of Brandon Pasalacqua, he is really out to quite a lead here, Brian. And that's that's kind of it's a little bit surprising to me as well.
I don't know. I mean, we saw Pasalacqua on Thursday. He was able to win one of the stages, so I feel like he's got the speed in order to come out here and really put it on these guys. Of course, clean air is a huge thing right now. And looking at lap times, I mean, he's running about a second faster than Chris Rivera, which is interesting to see. And that is, I think, the surprising aspect of it, that in practice, Chris Severa was faster than Brandon Passalacqua. So maybe the track conditions favoring this 6 machine.
Well, let's talk about those track conditions just a little bit. Looks like that ambient air temperature is going to be about 73 degrees with the track temp rolling in about 106 degrees winds out of the southeast at 9 miles an hour under clear skies, Brian. So that's going to make it really awesome for everybody that wants to play here tonight to come out here and actually pitch a tent and have a good time.
Yeah, 100%. This is definitely a good track to pitch a tent for sure. I've always wanted to go to one of these road course races like this. A lot of people just love them for sure. I've always been of the mind, though, you can't see every corner, so what's the point? But, I mean, at least with us here in the virtual world, we're able to see every camera angle and see everything that's going on the racetrack.
But some of these corners are epic, and I think that's why the fans come and fill the stadium, because you can actually see things happen in real life that you can't. You're not, relegated to watching some cameraman's perspective. You can actually see it happen. You can see magic occur, and even if it takes these guys, 2 minutes and 12 seconds to make it back around, it's still going to be awesome when you get to see them again, right?
Yeah, especially getting to hear these awesome cars going up through these gears. I mean, when you're at a track like, an oval or something like that, for the most part, they're staying in the same gear. But when you're at a track like this, if you're in the right corner and you hear them going through second to first, or, from second to third to fourth to fifth, I mean, it's just you hearing the rumble and the scream of those engines as they hit those power bands is something you can't replicate that.
Yeah, you can say that again, man. Watching that Whataburger sign come up, and I know that we did have that race on Thursday. It was the Texas de Brazil. You guys got a Whataburger down there where you're at least?
No, definitely not. Whataburger, I think, is more of a Texas and thing. I know they have them in California. I think it's a west, kind of Midwest to west kind of deal, I think. But I have been to L.A., and I ate some Whataburger, and it was really good. It actually was really good.
Well, I'm right here in Alabama, and we've got a Whataburger.
Don't have one of them in South Carolina. I wish we did.
But I'm originally from North Carolina, and so the fact that you guys got indoor plumbing is a plus, right? we're still rooting for you guys, man. Like a brother from another mother, just hoping that South Carolina keeps plugging along, and you guys will eventually even get internet.
Yeah, yeah, that's for sure. One thing, that's kind of interesting. You're not far off. Because even I'd say about a decade, maybe 15 years ago, I know a lot of places didn't have indoor smoking. We still had indoor smoking sections. You could, and it happened a lot to where they got rid of that a lot later than a lot of other places did.
15 years ago, what were you, 12? I mean,
I'm 32.
Really don't ask
That's
me. That's
not that far, actually. You're right. I was probably about 17, more like it.
Yeah. Wow, that's awesome.
But yeah, you can still walk into a huddle house and you just walk into a plume of smoke.
Huddle house. He said huddle house, ladies and gentlemen. And a lot of people that are watching this race, because I know we got 100 viewers, they're going to be sitting there thinking to themselves, like, why in the hell would he go to a huddle house? You guys ain't got a Waffle House?
We don't got Waffle House in where I live.
Are you kidding me?
There are Waffle Houses in nearby, but not in this town.
You don't even have an awful waffle? You can't get scattered, smothered, covered, chunked, diced, topped. I mean, what? Who? How did you even get to meet me? I mean, holy cow.
Welcome to the show, man.
Fuck, let's go cow tipping. I'm just kidding, man. I'm from North Carolina. I'm just messing with you.
Oh, yeah, of course.
You're my favorite little buddy.
But Pedro Enrique, he has taken the second spot away from Chris Severa.
Yeah, now it's going to be interesting just to see that 114 navigate himself through this, because it's really not about the stages when it comes for this guy. And speaking of that, we're at lap 5 right now. It'll be 6 across the line, but Pedro Enrique, he is going to slowly keep reeling in Brandon Passalacqua. Now, my question is going to be, will he catch him before we actually get to the end of the first stage, or is this just going to be something that he just kind of drags out? But I think with that guy, when I saw his name on the board tonight, Brian, I knew that he was definitely going to come here and kind of show out a little bit.
Oh yeah, I definitely think he's going to show up and show out for sure. And you know, lap time wise, he is catching Brandon Ponsalacqua, but not quick enough, I don't think, to catch him at the end of the first stage. But I think eventually he will end up catching him. But one thing about road courses and everything in between is, you know, one thing to catch him, another thing completely to pass him. I mean, it's going to be very
Yeah,
difficult indeed in order to pass a guy that is of similar pace to you. Because
yeah, I don't
Ponsalacqua
think
is only
so.
about 2/10 slower right now than Pedro.
I mean, I got you, but if you just continually watch that 8-second lead just diminish to nothing, once he actually gets up there to the back end of Brandon Pasalacqua, he's really not going to have a choice but to kind of relinquish that position. I mean, I'm not chasing you because you're cute. I caught you because I'm faster than you are. It's not a courting situation at that point.
Yeah, 100%. But of course, Brandon Pasalacqua, you know, no responsibility to get up out of the way, and that was something that we talked about after the race on Thursday. That we saw some incidents that were kind of based on that kind of, you know, thought process. Are you responsible to get out of the way, or is he
No.
responsible for passing you? So I mean, Pedro has to pass him, and it could even be, you know, depends on when he catches him, and we could even see some drama unfold because of that.
Well, we still got a ways to go. I mean, I'm not trying to talk this up any sooner than we need to, because I mean that's going to be one of our bigger talking points of the evening here tonight. It's going to be the battle between Pedro Enrique and Brandon Pasalacqua, because honestly, without Pedro reeling him in ever so slowly, I don't know how this thing is going to go. We'll just ultimately be waiting on Brandon to make a mistake, and he actually came into this as a ringer. I mean, the guy's got a 2,500 plus I rating on road courses. He didn't. I mean, no, this is not by accident.
No, of course not. I mean, no matter what, you know, I don't know what he races predominantly in the, you know, in the road course kind of section. But I do know that actually Brandon Pasalacqua, Chris Severa, Greg Wychinski, all three, and Josh Schaffner, of course, who's not here tonight, participated in the Sebring 12 Hours, I do believe, last night. Ran up until about, I think, 4 a.m., 6 a.m., somewhere in there. So they were going for a long time. And so I wouldn't be surprised to even see some lingering effects from being wore out from that, from those drivers. But, I mean, still, even though that is a completely different track, Sebring and COTA, it still does put a little bit of that road course repetition into their minds to have that mindset.
Yeah, every battle is different. I mean, in the preparation for each battle is different. When you go into a 24-hour at Sebring, you're actually looking at it from that aspect. But coming into this race here at COTA, I mean, let's just be honest. This is a 47-lap race. It's going to take us about an hour and 30 minutes left. So the mental preparedness is, in this race, I'm by myself. There's not going to be a tag out period. I'm not going to be able to say, hey, look, I did it for this long. Now you get in. No. You're in the seat, you got to stay in the seat, and you're going to have to grind it out, baby, because, I mean, all of the points matter. Because the one thing that even Paul Olsen's going to get out of this, he's going to get stage points. He's going to get stage points at lap at lap 9. He's going to get stage points at lap 21. And in the long end of this thing, you know, those points matter, Brian.
Yeah, 100%. Everybody out here is going to get some stage points, and the drivers that aren't here tonight, that are in the Super Cup points, are going to lose out. I mean, everybody that's here is guaranteed. I mean, just like you always say, you get a point, you get a point, everybody gets a point.
Yeah, Oprah's here tonight, baby. You get a stage point. You get a stage. But look, here's the deal. It's not just for the Super Cup series. These guys are also getting points for the actual season series as well. So this is huge right here, no matter how you look at it, because season 2 has only been underway for what? This is the second race of the season?
Yeah, of the Cup season, I do believe, yeah, for sure. And, of course,
Yeah.
Chris Severa at the top of the board when it comes to points for that series. But, yeah, this is an important step right here for a lot of these drivers. So if they at least just try to make an effort to finish the race, going to be important. Another driver that probably is looking to try to get some points out of this is Frank Flores. We actually have a camera up for him.
Did you clear that with his parole officer?
I did not, but hopefully it's okay.
I'm just saying. I mean, he's a blue light special for more than one reason. Don't want no all points bulletin on Frank Flores here, as he is continuing to do great. Go, Frank! Ain't mad at him. He's in 9th place.
Yeah, he's not that far back from Kenny Powell at the moment. Of course, Kenny Powell recently got passed by Greg Wychinski. Wychinski trying to catch up there to Jose Acosta. Now, Wychinski was pretty good on Thursday. Of course, he did suffer a little bit of an accident early in the event. He still did get a top 10, Big Al, out of that 20-car field. So, I mean, not a bad day, even though he did find himself getting into an accident with, I do believe, Abner Acosta on lap number 1, if I'm not mistaken.
But you know what, though, and we'll get to Greg, but back to Triple F Flores. I mean, this is going to be solid for him tonight too, Brian, because he is going to pick up stage points for both stages, and he's going to get a top 10 at the end of this thing. So think about it. The implications of this, I mean, this is going to echo. This is going to, I mean, this is a big deal, for lack of a better subject.
Yeah, top 10 is definitely still a top 10, even if there's only 10 drivers out there. You know, still going to be some points for sure. Pedro Enrique, though, has really started to catch up to Brandon Passalacqua. He's got about 4.5 seconds to get up there to him. So you've been starting to be able to see him. Oh, a little bit of a blinking issue for Pedro. That's not good.
Yeah, we're going to have to. Yeah, he's actually going to have to figure that out pretty quick, because right now he is actually shown off the pace as well. I got him grayed out.
Off the track, I do believe so. I think he actually is going to probably suffer from a throughput error.
Yep, and that, you know what, and that's what I'm saying. You know, when you start picking these fast food restaurants to go in and pull off their Wi-Fi to complete this race, I mean, maybe McDonald's isn't the spot.
Yeah, that's for sure.
You need that Roof Chris Wi-Fi. I know y'all ain't got a Roof Chris down there. I'm not even going to ask.
No, I don't even know what that is.
Holy cow. Whoa, okay. You never heard of Ruth Chris Steakhouse?
Nope, never heard of that. I had never heard of Texas Day Brazil until, Kenny had made it one of our sponsors here for the series.
I think you're into this just for the culture.
Yeah, I'm learning all kinds of stuff here in the ISCA. But that leaves Brandon Passalacqua, of course, as the leader. He probably was a little bit concerned about Enrique catching him, but I think he might be probably breathing a couple sighs of relief at the moment. Of course, Chris Severa now moves up into the second place position, but he's over 11 seconds back from Passalacqua. So I think Passalacqua, he's the man to beat here. Without Pedro in the field, this is going to definitely change up a lot of things. Austin Derbyshire also moves up into the third place position. Of course, he's 28
Whoa!
back.
Look at that. Look at my man doing donuts down on the infield. That ain't what you want to be doing there, Mr. Derbyshire.
Austin going to miss out on some.
Yeah, and that's the worst place to do that, because this is going to be at the end of the stage. So that's going to
back at this.
That's going to affect his money.
Oh, look at that. Just exit right there. Just got onto the gas a little too hard, spun it around, and not a lot of traction in that grass, and that is going to be some incident points for him as well.
Oh, yeah, he's the highest. Well, he's not the highest, but he's tied. Well, no, he's
still having issues.
5. He's got 5 incidents.
And he is still having issues. He just let Jose Acosta go by, and now that puts Jose up into the 4th place position. Now Greg Wychinski starting to catch up there to Derbyshire. Now, one thing about it that you see all the time at these road courses, when you make a mistake like that, it's probably not going to be your last one, because a lot of times you dwell on those mistakes every time you come to that same corner.
It's about momentum, and his whole rhythm's off. So that's the reason why he's got to get back in the rhythm, and it's hard to do that until you get your car back up to speed. You know what I mean? And then you got to shake off the wheelies, because that's a whole different story than even a big wiggle. But look, just like that, now we're waiting on the last place car, which is the 43 of Paul Osen, across the line before we can officially put this stage in the books.
Now, I actually did have some clarification there, Big Al, about when the stage officially ends. Now, we were very close, because remember we had talked about it on Thursday. I kind of asked Kenny Powell, like, what's the ruling on that? When does the stage officially end when we don't have cautions at this road course? And he kind of said that as soon as Passalacqua crosses the line, he's the stage winner. And he said as soon as second place crosses the line, that is second place. As soon as third place crosses, so all the way back to 9th or 10th.
Okay, cool.
So it kind of is kind of what we thought it was, but a little, just a tear different to where,
Well, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Because they continue to race at that point, because they're already on their way competing for the next stage. So yeah, you got to go ahead and reset them at the line. I totally get that.
100%.
Makes total sense.
So that will put Brandon Passalacqua as the stage winner as he just crossed the line, starting lap number 10.
Run, Brandon, run. And I'm telling you, it looks like, no, it doesn't look like. Pedro Enrique has manually disconnected. That means he has withdrawn from the competition as well as the pressure that he was applying to Brandon. So now with him out of the equation, Brandon Passalacqua really gets a run at it. I mean, all of the aces are in his hand. The only person that's really going to be able to tip him it's just himself. As long as he keeps doing everything that he needs to do, I think it's going to be just fine.
Yeah, for sure. Also very impressed with what we're seeing from Gary Adamson. He seems like he's definitely a good road course racer here. We did see Chris Severe cross the line. Of course, he finishes second. Gary Adamson just finished third here in the stage, and Jose Acosta, not far behind him, is going to finish fourth.
Here's what we're going to do too. I don't think anybody's going to pit. You're going to go ahead and complete stage 2. You're going to get that second stage in the books. Even though they said that fuel window was at 20, at this point everybody's raced enough to know exactly how long they can stretch that out past the end of the second stage. So, with that being said, I think you're not going to even see people come down pit road until at least lap 23.
Yeah, well, that's the thing about it, too, because I know on Thursday we were kind of confused because, we had the projected fuel window was 20 laps, but that actually was not the case. It was actually 23 laps, of course, because even Abner Acosta almost didn't make it on fuel there towards the end of that race. So, I'm definitely thinking these guys can make this into one stop. The majority of drivers were able to do that. I know Passalacqua was not able to. I'm wondering if he's going to change his strategy at all here tonight.
Well, that's the one thing they're going to have to do. Like I said, when it comes down to road courses, you're really battling against yourself. And so these drivers are going to have to look deep within their own souls, Brian, and figure out how fast do I want to run these laps. So I want to get drug out here and possibly turn this into a 2-stop event, or do I just want to kind of chill, run my own race, and make up the dividend by not actually having to spend that time on pit road? Because, hey, with this race being green the whole time, any time that you spend it on pit road is just going to be against your soul, brother.
Do see a little bit of a battle going on here back here for 7th place. Frank Flores starting to put some pressure on Kenny Powell. Frank Flores definitely looking to see if he can get some more points. Paul Olson now has gone a lap down. And I think he is actually out of the race car.
Which means old Paul's going to be gone for the evening as well. I mean, as long as he beat Pedro, that solidifies his 9th place position. So, yeah, I think he just said, hey, look here, guys, I'm not going to go ahead and get the swamp butt. I'm just going to go ahead and hit that exit button and call it good.
Yeah, for sure. That leaves us with only 8 drivers right now in competition at the moment. Of course, Brandon Passalacqua was still in the lead. Chris Vera sits in 2nd place. He's been hovering at around the same gap, 11 seconds. Gary Adamson sits in 3rd. Jose Acosta's in 4th. Austin Derbyshire's in 5th. Greg Wyszynski not far behind him in 6th. Kenny Powell, of course, we've been watching this kind of battle unfold here between him and Frank Flores, who sits in 8th at the moment. What you say? Let's take a little bit of a crank it up moment here on behalf of the ISCA. Let's look through the cockpit camera here of Brandon Passalacqua. Show his cockpit in-car camera, and let's hear this engine, Big Al. What do you think?
Woohoo! Wow, I totally thought Brandon was going to be a little bit faster than this. Yeah, Chris is going to have to do something real quick here if he's going to want to catch him. ran off the road there.
Well, we were going to do a crank it up here, but Big Al doesn't seem to understand the point of it. To rest our voices, Big Al.
Hey, did you see Austin Derbyshire?
I did not. What happened with Austin Derbyshire?
You might want to hit the rewind button on that. Yeah, I think he lost it a little bit.
Trying to find it here, Big Al. That must have became as a result of him battling with Jose Acosta, possibly.
Yeah, because he's all the way back now in 6th place. But yeah, he actually did tank it.
Oh yeah, there you go. I see it into the guardrail there too. You see the right side damage on that race car now. Unfortunate for him, but luckily he's able to keep driving. Did not break the toe link. That's going to be the big thing that you have to watch out for here around this track.
Sorry, I'm resting my voice.
Now you want to rest your voice.
Come on, man. We got to have fun. I mean, come on. There's 8 cars in this thing.
No, I hear you.
But yeah, Jose Acosta definitely now up to 4th place. Kind of getting his head back around it. But, you know, the one thing you got to watch, Jose, because when these tracks get so complex with so many turns, you have to be able to focus. I mean, that's the one thing. So it's not just him, but other drivers, man. If you just kind of if you just distracted for 1/10 of a second, Brian, it could be catastrophic.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, especially, you know, if you're in one of these low-speed, you know, corners or, you know, on the brakes, if you lock them up and you get distracted, you definitely find yourself having an issue. And I think that's what kind of happened to Austin Derbyshire there. Just, you know, not racing the track. I think that's the big thing there. You can't, you know, you have to race the racetrack. You got to hit your marks, make sure that you're focused at all times. And that's what makes it so difficult not having cautions is that, you know, you don't have a moment to rest your brain. Even when you're on pit road, you're thinking about, you know, making sure you get into your box. You're making sure, you know, you probably only have about 10 seconds or so to take those tires and fuel and get back out there. So just to even kind of recollect yourself. 10 seconds is not a long time.
Well, I'm telling you what, watching Austin Derbyshire, he just got removed from the Greg Wyszynski Christmas list because he kind of drove himself a little bit hard in there, and I'm certain Greg probably didn't appreciate that. I'm just saying. But now he is trying to reel his way back in here to Jose Acosta, and I think that's going to be an interesting move here once he
actually was not live there, Big Al. I didn't realize I was not live. So yeah, I see exactly what you're talking about, and it looked a lot like what we saw with Abner Acosta and Greg Wyszynski on Thursday too.
Oh yeah,
because you know I think Austin there just dove it kind of in. I think he was going to make the corner. I just don't think Greg thought he was going to be driving in like that on him.
I don't think Greg anticipated being his cushion or his brakes.
Yeah, he used him kind of like a help to turn, you know.
I think right now we got ourselves for the first time of the night some 100% ISCA beef.
Yeah, for sure. I'm sure Greg Wyszynski not going to forget that anytime soon, as he's right there, still in you know, distance to be able to do something about it. As Austin Derbyshire does catch up to the back here of the 42, I'm wondering how he's going to treat him. As you see, a lot of these guys catching that apron on the exit of the last corner get a little bit loose when you hit that rumble strip. It definitely doesn't seem to have a ton of grip.
Well, this is going to be the turn where he'll try to do it. Tries to drive it deep in. Looks like he braked a little sooner, trying to get back on the accelerator quicker.
You see the smoke on the brake there too.
Yeah, now he has definitely got Jose Acosta in his sights. So Jose is going to be doing everything he can at this point to try to keep the 91 at bay. But Austin Derbyshire definitely all over the back of that John Deere 42 of Jose Acosta.
Yeah, he definitely is. And the more that they battle, the more I think that Greg Wyszynski comes into the picture, and we could see a little bit of payback, if you will. But here comes Austin. He tries to dive in deep, not quite able to get there. So difficult to pass at a track like this. Real loose condition there off the corner.
Yeah, because Austin's got a twofold situation. He knows that if Greg catches him, Greg's well within his rights to give him the bumper. But at the same token, he is trying to do everything he
wide.
can.
Really
Yeah,
wide for the 42.
That's exactly what he needed to do. He needed to get right underneath Jose, and he did that. Now Jose himself has got to deal with Wyszynski and Austin. If he plays his cards right, man, he's just going to go ahead and take his momentum and go ahead and get to that express checkout line.
Yeah, here comes Greg Wyszynski trying to get underneath the 42, not quite able to do so, but you could tell that the 42 probably looking in his rearview mirror, watching Derbyshire all over his back bumper, probably got a little nervous and maybe had a little bit of a misstep, but luckily he looks like he's gotten his
the pressure
back
right
in
now,
the right direction.
No, the pressure right now is all over Jose Acosta because Jose, he just got passed by a guy that he thought he was faster than, and so now he's rattled a little bit, and just like that, here comes Greg Wyszynski, and you know Jose Acosta, he's not going to just relinquish this position, so hopefully he doesn't overdrive it or put himself in a position that he's going to take him and Greg Wyszynski out of this thing.
Yeah, look at that. Jose taking a little bit of the scenic route through the grass a little bit there, but he's able to stay side by side with Wyszynski. Wyszynski probably very frustrated here that he was able to hold him off here.
This is where the frustration comes. It's right here now. It's happening live because Jose is doing everything he can because in his mind, he's faster than Derbyshire. So he is trying to he's kicking himself because he got passed. So he's going to do everything he can to try to get up and around the 91. But guess what? Greg Wyszynski, in his mind, he's faster than the 42.
Yeah, looking at the lap times here from both of these drivers, of course, Greg Wyszynski was faster last time by than Jose Acosta. But of course, Acosta did have some issues, which caused his lap time to definitely suffer. But I definitely think that Wyszynski is faster at the moment than Acosta. And even looking back up towards the front, Chris Rivera faster than Brandon Ponsalacqua at the moment by a couple tenths. So I don't think that's quite over yet either, the battle for this win. I think eventually Chris Rivera is going to possibly catch up there to Ponsalacqua. Now, Rivera is one that the more time you give him out on this racetrack, the better he's going to get. I got to really shout out Gary Adamson. What a fantastic performance for him. I mean, I think this could be possibly even his first top 3 here in the ISCA. But still a long, long, long way to go. Of course, easy to make mistakes, especially as you continue to run. The mistakes, the probability of those mistakes continue to rise, I'd say.
Yeah, but we're still good. We got about 5 laps to go before this stage is over. All of these guys, all they got to do here tonight, Brian, is just keep their head in the game and keep going because they're making moolah in terms of the points situation for this league. Now, looks like Greg Wyszynski is going to get by Jose Acosta. Jose just finally relinquishing that position. And, hey, look, we understand, Jose. You know, just wait till it's time for you to pit, and you'll be okay. You'll be right back in it. I love you.
Dang, I didn't know you loved Jose. How about that?
Oh, wait. My wife just bought me a beer.
Oh. I'll say Jose's probably getting ready to start sending you love letters.
Yeah, as long as they're written in English.
Jose speaks English now. Come on now. You're going to trigger him.
Oh, come on. I know Jose. Jose and I have been, I'm an analyst, okay, and I'm a commentator, so I've not always said things that have been favorable in Jose's character. But Jose and I are definitely good, man. So he knows. Yeah, I do love Jose. I have, yeah, he's like my little, I guess, cholo. I don't even know if that's the right word.
We are canceled, ladies and gentlemen. I hate to say it, but it is the last broadcast for the ISCA here tonight.
My Spanish is worse than my English.
Kenny.
Look, it's you and me here, and we're talking. We got 16 laps. We're like lap 16 of 47, right?
Yeah.
8 cars left in this thing. So, I mean, yes, I do love Jose. He's my little buddy.
And I think by the end of this thing, I think we're only going to see maybe 2 drivers on the lead lap. I mean, you see already Gary Adamson's a minute, I should say, behind Brandon Ponsalacqua. And Kenny Powell, he's going to be the first one possibly to go a lap down here. But you do see Wachinski. I think Wachinski's driving on almost pure anger, possibly because of, probably seeing a little bit of that, a little bit of shell shock from Thursday. Getting wrecked by Abner Acosta. You saw, kind of Austin Derbyshire do the same thing. I wouldn't be surprised if Greg's just fighting to get back up to 91.
And you got to understand too, these guys, they're almost at the end of the comfort level, I guess you'd say, with the tires, because it does matter. You gotta watch their lap times and understand that they're not running as fast as some of them could be. I mean, everybody's best laps. Well, some guys are getting faster though, so I don't even know, Brian.
Well, we did see that on Thursday as well. I know that once the fuel was starting to burn out, Abner Acosta was hitting his fastest laps on the racetrack. Not really seeing that tonight near as much, and I think that Abner's just a cut above the rest in a lot of ways. He was the star of the show on Thursday. I think Brandon Ponsalacqua was the star of the show here tonight, and I think because of the level of talent that was there in that Thursday series, I think, of course, he's talented in his own right, but this is the one that he's going to shine.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot of give and take here, or like a seesaw when it comes to the lap times these guys are turning at the moment. You're seeing, one lap, one guy's faster than the rest. Next lap, they're not. I mean, Gary Adamson is definitely a good one to look at, just considering he's been hitting good laps. But in that last time by 2:18, and it's very slow, even compared to, you see Greg Wachinski hitting a 2:16. I think Wachinski might have Mr. Derbyshire's number because he was almost a second faster last time by.
Frank Flores just actually made it by Kenny Powell a couple turns ago. That's got to put old Frank up in the 7th place.
Well, I thought he had made that pass a while ago, so they must be still in the midst of battling. You see Kenny right there, so I think they're kind of going back and forth a little bit here, the 24 into the 8. Definitely seems like the battle is on. Here comes Kenny up to the back bumper of the 8. So definitely, no, by any means, it is not settled at all. I don't think anyone is in the position they're going to finish in, possibly. I mean, you see Kenny Powell now going to be trying to see if he can't get underneath Frank Flores, but Flores has been turning really good laps. I'm very impressed with what he's managed to do here so far tonight.
I don't think Kenny's going to try to push the issue. I think Frank has definitely displayed that he's the faster driver. So if anything, Kenny's just going to probably follow him for a couple of laps here, just kind of waiting it out here until they can come down pit road and have to negotiate their pit stops.
Yeah, of course, we are getting closer and closer to the end of the fuel window. Of course, the projected fuel window is about 23 laps. We did see some guys stretch it to 24 on Thursday. And I think that could be what some of these guys are not really getting as much out of the race car as they could, just to possibly save fuel and maybe have a little bit better fuel economy. That could even be what Chris Severa's doing as well. I mean, he's 12 seconds back from Brandon Ponsalacqua. He's been maintaining that gap. Could he be maintaining it just to save fuel?
Yeah, but don't ever count out what Ponsalacqua's capable of. I mean, he's turning monster laps here. And I don't think that's just indicative of saving.
Taking a look on Chris Severa right now. And he's definitely a capable road course racer. He's won a lot of these road course races. So I would not count him out as well. He's always one that if you count Chris Severa out, he's going to come out there and show you.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
As we come to complete lap 19 here. A lot of gaps in the field. Of course, we do still see the battling between Kenny Powell and Flores. They are the closest on the racetrack at the moment. Of course, Greg Wachinski and Jose Acosta pretty close to each other, along with Derbyshire, but this is the closest battle at the moment. Wachinski getting closer and closer here to Derbyshire. Derbyshire getting a little bit loose. These guys, definitely, these three, I don't think we've seen the last of these drivers battling. Oh, Austin Derbyshire goes really wide. Also, Jose Acosta goes wide. So difficult to put the whole lap together around this racetrack. A lot of drivers complain and talk about this racetrack not really liking it very much just because it takes so much technical ability, I'd say. I mean, there are so many corners, so many low-speed corners that lead into other low-speed corners.
Well, look, the pros.
There goes Austin Derbyshire. He's taking it down pit road.
The pros are coming here tomorrow, so I mean, I guess they're going to put everybody's worries to rest, if you will. But Derbyshire definitely starting it off with the green flag pit stops. Not sure. I mean, he still gets stage points, so nothing really matters on that. But yeah, way to go, Austin.
Yeah, definitely a different strategy there for Austin Derbyshire.
Well, I think it's a two-step. I think it's a two-stop strategy is what it is, Brian.
Yeah, I don't think he thinks he can make it to the end on fuel, and going to be taking a little bit of a different strategy. Hopefully he gets back out there. And it looks like, yeah, he is coming off of pit road at the moment. Has not lost a lap yet. And that's a good thing about a road course is, you can pit and not lose a lap.
I'm going to be watching this 62 because I think right now the issue is going to be not even an issue, but what I'm curious to see is at what lap does the savior, the king of saving, Chris Rivera, come down to pit road.
I say the savior. I say he's not Jesus.
The king of saving. Yeah, he's the saver.
Saver, yeah, he definitely is. He's always been that guy that knows exactly what lap times he needs to hit on the racetrack. He is the winningest driver here in the Saturday Series, has won the most championships as well. Of course, if you go to the ISCA website, they have it on there, the Hall of Fame, and you see his name more than anybody when it comes to championships here in this series.
Yeah, so instead of being the GOAT, he's the coat.
Well, I say he is the GOAT here for this Saturday Series. Love to see him race on the Thursday, because I feel like he would give them guys a run for their money as well. I mean, he is no slouch, not in the slightest.
Austin Derbyshire still down pit road.
Uh-oh, he actually was. He came off of pit road. What the heck? Yep, I think he might have had himself another issue on the racetrack. As we take a look back here, he spins it out into the guardrail once again. And I think he's going to be sideways in the middle of the track, and he takes a tow.
Oops.
So unfortunate. That leaves us down with now 7 drivers in competition.
Yep, it appears that Mr. Derbyshire has withdrawn from the contest.
He has left the building. Of course, Brandon Pastelacqua getting ready to finish lap 21 here. And I do believe the next lap will be the end of stage number 2. So he has so far utterly dominated this race, has led every lap thus far. The only person I think that was really able to possibly match him would have been Pedro Enrique, but unfortunately he also had some issues, taking him outside of the competition. So we've already had attrition setting in here tonight. The 91, the 43, and the 114 all out of the race cars. And of course, Kenny Powell probably won't be long before he finds himself a lap down. I think by the end of this thing, as I mentioned before, we're probably only going to see 2 cars possibly on the lead lap here, which is kind of crazy to say. I mean, you could definitely see a big difference in the lap times and skill levels here in this race here tonight. Of course, ISCA drivers, a lot of them not used to driving on the road courses. Of course, they have to put preparation in, and this is definitely not one that a lot of people know too much about. Like, if you were to put the majority of these drivers on Watkins Glen, I think that they would have a much easier time. But this is not one that is in the repertoire, I'd say, for a lot of drivers.
Yeah, but COTA is going to be it's the track of tomorrow for NASCAR. I mean, they built a car that could be competitive under these conditions, and so they're going to race it. So, if you believe that this is a true simulation, you're going to have to suck it up, Buttercup, and get better.
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, I'm just saying that a lot of these drivers have not gotten better. It's just a hard track for sure. I mean, I wouldn't do any better myself if I had to go out there and race. I'll tell you, I would be right there in the same spot as Paul Olson or Austin Derbyshire. I probably would have made it less. I wouldn't have made it as many laps as they did.
Yeah, but for me, in my mind, if I was out there, Brandon would be probably about, I'm going to say, a minute behind me, maybe. Look, once again, we're talking about in my mind.
Yeah, 100%. We'll have to talk to the therapist tonight.
In my mind, I'm the greatest.
Oh yeah, you're Lewis Hamilton.
Whoa, yeah, no. I'm Al Nixon to Lewis Hamilton. He's like, oh no, that's Al Nixon. And I'm like, now, Lewis. But yeah, green flag racing is going to continue. And right now, with stage 2 in the books, we're going to run down that. Brandon Pasalacqua, your stage 2 winner. Chris Rivera comes in second. Gary Adamson third. Greg Lachinsky in fourth. Jose Acosta fifth. Frank Flores sixth. Kenny Powell in seventh. Austin Derbyshire eighth. Paul Olson ninth. And Pedro Enrique coming in 10th. So that puts stage 2 in the books, which means that's going to put us even closer to seeing pit stops. Whoa! Kenny Powell comes in hot.
Take a look back and see what happened here with Kenny Powell. Looks like he just missed the corner. And, of course, got to be counting those X's, Big Al. Incidents. Who's got the most right now?
On the incident count right now, number 1 would have been Austin Derbyshire at 12, but he is no longer with us.
Oh, wow. Kenny Powell came up very quick on the back of the 8 of Frank Flores, dove it in there, and missed his mark completely.
Yeah, Gary Adamson is going to be on the top of that chart now with 7. Also with 7, Kenny Powell. 9, though, to Chris Rivera. 2 to Brandon Pasalacqua.
Yeah, I think Pasalacqua knows this track almost like the back of his hand at this point. And he is definitely the dominant factor at the moment, as we have completed, as you mentioned, stage number 2. Green flag pit stop should be coming up very, very soon. I think in the next lap or 2, depending on what the strategy is going to be. But it looks like majority are going to try to finish this thing.
The 6 is down pit road now.
Interesting. Now, we did see the 6 on Thursday pit around this time, but he did pit again to take gas. So I'm wondering if Severa is maybe going to be on a little bit of a different strategy to see if he can make it a little bit further. Now, this could determine who wins this race, depending on the pit strategies.
Well, he's absolutely on his way to completing yet another lap. That's going to put him at 23 laps, which means if he can make one more, Brian, he should be able to get this thing in the books.
Take a look through the cockpit camera or in-car camera that Chris Severa has set up here. As you see how focused he looks in the cockpit there. As he has now taken the lead. Of course, Brandon Pasalacqua has completed his stop. He's about 16 and a half seconds back from Chris Severa at the moment. So new leader. Of course, Brandon Pasalacqua getting maximum points, though, at the moment. because Chris Vera still does have to pit. We'll have to see how that kind of all works out, how it plays. But winning both stages is huge in the ISCA. Of course, a lot of times when you win both stages and you even finish second place in the race, you get more points than the winner does. Gary Adamson down pit road. He's going to stop in his box. Is yellow flag out on the speedway?
Yeah, I think I hit the button, man. I was trying to.
Well, looks like we have the yellow flag on the speedway. Looks like an error has occurred, and that will bring everybody back up together here. This is going to change everything, and it's all the responsibility of Big Al. Did you really hit the button?
Yeah, I absolutely did hit the button.
Kenny's going to take that button from you.
Yeah, he definitely should.
Well, now that we have a caution, I think everybody's going to be going down pit road to probably get a tank of fuel and some tires. We'll take a step away. We'll be right back.
Hey everybody, my name is Warren Maddox. I am the president of Ultimate Experience Outdoors. Our mission, we are dedicated to taking veterans, first responders, youth, and Gold Star family members on outdoor excursions across the country.
Support for our mission has many forms, from camp cooks to the great storytellers, some buddies with the band, maybe you just want to build a campfire and sit around and listen. Nothing goes unnoticed.
Camaraderie is reborn. The acceptance among the men and women that took an oath.
Whether it was decades ago or recently renewed, but never forgotten.
If you feel like you could help us, please visit our website, www.uxonation.org.
There, you can register to hunt, sign up to sponsor an event, or even donate to us so we can continue to execute our mission.
Oh my gosh, I'm so tough, bro. We get a hug, man. What have you done, Jim?
We need your help to hold the line once again.
Experience traditional Brazilian cuisine, served with the hospitality that Texas is famous for. Here at Texas de Brazil, you simply turn your card to green, and expert carvers serve you fine cuts of beef, lamb, pork, chicken, and Brazilian sausage. Turn your card to red when you want a break. Then repeat. Make reservations now at texasdebrazil.com.
And we are back. Chris Severa, of course, in the lead. We've had a inopportune caution. I'd say it's opportune, though, for a lot of drivers out there. Of course, they're going to be able to get back up into this fight and be able to have a chance possibly to get a dub here. Of course, pace car lights are still on as we pace around Circuit of the Americas. Of course, I do believe we heard that Jose Acosta ran out of gas, and he now finds himself a lap down. So you can tell how close the fuel truly is, Big Al. I mean, when we talk about fumes that these guys are running out on Thursday, it's true. I mean, Jose was on fumes there towards the end of that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Chris Severa, though, in the lead at the moment. Has he been down pit road yet?
This competition caution brought to you by TLC, Technology Logistics Consulting Incorporated. Right where you're in a pinch, count on TLC. They'll put you in a ditch.
Chris Severa, though, coming down pit road along with Greg Wyszynski. I was wondering if they had pitted yet, but this is going to be their pit stop. So I'm surprised that Jose ran out of fuel, considering Chris Severa didn't run out of fuel. Of course, Frank Flores also coming down pit road. Kenny Powell. I do believe Brandon Pasalacqua is going to be staying out. I'm wondering what this does for Pasalacqua's fuel economy. Probably helps it, possibly.
Well, once again, I apologize to everybody involved in this snafu. Just in inadvertent, unfortunate set of circumstances here. I did not mean to hit the button.
Oh, that's okay. I'm sure a lot of these drivers might even be thankful that you hit the button, considering they're going to be back in competition here, and I think this is going to make this a whole lot more entertaining because we had them all spread out quite substantially, and this gives a lot of these guys another lease on life in a lot of ways. If they had made mistakes early, just hate that Dawson Derbyshire or Paul Olson wasn't out here to take advantage of it. But Jose Acosta, of course, we talked about him going a lap down. He is now back on the lead lap. But he's going to have to turn almost qualifying laps to get up here to catch up to this field. But 25 laps into this race. We believe next time by going to be 22 laps to go. Brandon Pasalacqua back up into the top spot. I think we might even have time maybe to talk to one of these guys. Big Al, what do you think?
Hey, I don't think anybody wants to start the Big Al right now.
Well, I'll talk to him.
Who you want to talk to, Brian?
Well, we'll go ahead and grab him up right now. I know you're kind of busy out there pacing around this track. Brandon Pasalacqua, now we had a little bit of an impromptu caution there. How does that change the strategy for you?
Well, I was going to two-stop it regardless. I am terrible at saving fuel here. I tried to do it a couple laps, and I overdrove one corner, underdrove the next. So I know Chris was saving a lot. He was going to do a one-stop, so it's going to be interesting to see if I could have gained enough time while he was saving and see if the two-stop would work. But that is now a wash, and I guess we just go run as hard as we can now.
Now, do you think you have the fuel to make it? I know on Thursday you kind of had to do that two-stop. Do you think that's going to be something you have to do now, or?
Sorry to cut you off there, Brian. Yeah, I should be good to go on just on the one stop. This caution with the essentially 3 caution laps is going to give me enough fuel to the end, so should be good.
Interesting to see that for sure. Now, I want to go back a little bit further to the beginning of this race where you saw Pedro Enrique. I know that he had that throughput error. What was going through your mind when he was catching you? Were you worried?
So here we go. We got Abner, and then Enrique was really good. I mean, I was proud of myself tonight. I was finally in the 2 minute 12 second bracket. I haven't been in there all week, so I was happy. But then I saw he was throwing down 2:11s, and I think I might have heard a high 2:10. So unfortunately, he quit. But yeah, he was definitely going to be the class of the field tonight.
Well, luckily for you, it doesn't seem that that's the case. I think the only person that seems like they're able to hold a candle to you is Chris Severa. Are you concerned about him?
Yeah, Chris is definitely better than I am here. He was putting better lap times down in the practice session. So I'll try to race him as hard as I can for however long, and I'm sure he'll start to pull away a little bit by little bit. But we'll race hard and have fun doing it.
I don't know, man. I feel like you're right there with him. I think that you're doubting yourself a little bit too much. I mean, he didn't seem like he was catching you very much. Do you think that might have been a strategy for him, though, to save gas?
Yeah, I think it was a strategy for him to save gas for sure. He was going to have 2 more laps. He was going to go around 2 or 3 more laps before the caution came out. So I knew he was holding back a lot. And I think there's a couple times where he did try to push it, and he definitely caught me by a couple tenths. So he definitely has the pace, and we'll go have fun and race it hard till the end.
Yeah, definitely going to be fun to see you guys racing out. As Chris Rivera ducks down pit road again there.
Yeah.
That's curious.
Yes, it is. That changes some things. I'm not sure what happened there, but him starting the back might help me out a little bit. But again, he has great pace, so I wouldn't be surprised if he gets to my bumper.
We'll have to wait and see for sure. You know, I know you won stage 1 and 2. How big is the points there for that? Do you think that's going to be a big deal? I know a lot of times in the ISCA, it seems like even if you don't win a race, if you win both stages, you get more than the winner.
Yeah, I mean the stage points. I take the Thursday League super seriously. That's the one I'm kind of gunning for to really compete in the Super Cup Series. Just because I know I can make those races every night or every week. Saturdays are hit and miss, but yeah, just like you said, the stage points are so huge. If you can just have great 2 stages essentially and stay in the top 10 by the end of the race, I mean you can't ask more than that.
100%. Well, we definitely appreciate you talking with us for a little bit here and kind of giving us a lot of insight for sure. Who can we give a shout out to after those stage wins and currently being in first?
Yeah, for sure. I want to give a shout out to you guys in the booth, and then anybody watching. I know it might be a small field today. It's a road course. You typically get this, regardless of the league that you're in, or you even see it in the official races where the field count is much smaller. But come give ISCA a check out. We're super clean, super fast, and it's a lot of fun. So we're welcome everybody to join.
All right. Well, thanks to you, Brandon, and good luck in the rest of the race.
Perfect. Thanks, Brian. Appreciate it.
Of course, that was Brandon Pasalacqua, our stage 1 and 2 winner. Definitely fantastic performance from him so far tonight, and definitely going to be watching Chris Rivera because, like he said, he thinks that Chris Rivera wasn't putting his whole hand out there, wasn't playing the whole hand there, Big Al. What do you think? No. Okay, but yeah, Brandon Pasalacqua definitely talking that we should be watching Chris Rivera, thinking that he definitely has more pace than I think he's letting on at the moment. As we get ready to get this green flag once again, I do believe we're going to have a 21-lap run to the end. Most drivers will be able to make it on fuel, but then again, it makes me think that maybe most drivers won't make it, just considering Chris Rivera dropped down pit road once again to get a little bit more gas in that tank. That definitely seems like a questionable decision. Maybe just trying to, Chris Rivera, he always likes to play mind games with all these drivers. Maybe just seeding the doubt there, planting the doubt into Brandon Pasalacqua. What do you think?
I think he's actually just making it so he can drive as fast as he needs to for the remainder of the race. He can push it now and not have to worry about fuel. That's exactly what I believe he did right there. So,
yeah, I think that's probably pretty close to being very accurate. I mean, you see him already trying to warm the tires up.
And if Chris is doing it, it's God approved.
I think I don't know though. I think that I don't count out Brandon Pasalacqua. He said he's going to race him hard. I can't wait to see what that looks like.
But Brandon's going to run a little short on fuel. That's the thing right now. That's going to be his biggest. That's going to be his Achilles heel, if you will. The lights are off on the pace car. We're going to go doubling this thing up here once we get closer back around. But I do believe that Chris is going to put himself in the best position, him and Jose, because they kind of topped it off, Brian. And I do believe you don't have to hold back at all. It's going to be easier to pass than some people might even believe, because once you get there through turn 1, I mean, it's a crapshoot.
Yeah, for sure. I think this restart is going to be very, very important for a lot of these drivers' hopes and dreams, if you will. You see, the field has been shaken up substantially. I mean, the running order, nothing like what we saw in stage 1 or 2. But here we go. I do believe we're going to be exiting. Pace car going to be exiting stage left as we go to the final corner. And the field is going to be in the hands of Brandon Pasalacqua. Greg Wachinski, can he take advantage of this second place starting spot? And Brandon Pasalacqua wasting no time. Green flag already out.
Look at where Chris Rivera's at, just like that.
Yeah, he has already moved his way up into second as he is going to be rounding right around the high side there of Frank Flores.
So just like that, he is now back in second place, and he doesn't have to worry about fuel.
Oh, Greg Wyszynski loose.
Cold tires. I mean, that's going to be one of the things you got to worry about.
And he is going to lose a lot of spots there. He now falls back into, I do believe, 7th position. Over 14 seconds back at the moment.
Still no major damage done to his car, so he will be able to continue, Brian.
No cautions, though, from this point on.
Yeah, because I'm not hitting that button. I'm not hitting that button.
Yeah, nothing's going to save him now, so that is a lot of time lost. He's going to have to hope that some of these other drivers have issues. But already, Chris Severa.
Oh, Chris Severa sideways in the turn. That is bad juju. That's going to put him way back in the mix here, Brian. He's really going to have to play catch up now, pulling that whip out, and he's going to have to whip that pony if he wants to get back up here.
Take a look back and see what happened here with Chris Severa. You see, he was trying to really lay in on it and just lock the tires up, spun it around. Kenny Powell almost got into him there. But that is going to be a hard thing to come back from. So
Jose Acosta there, who was in second place, just really kind of stepped it himself, and that's going to allow Brandon to give Brandon the cushion that he wants.
He's got to feel a lot better about that, just considering he's going to be able to save fuel without having to worry about quite as much. Of course, it's still unknown whether he makes it to the end of the race, but if he has a little bit more of a gap, he's going to have a little bit easier time saving fuel. But look at that, Jose locking it up a little bit. That's going to give Gary Adamson a chance here for second.
Jose is really kind of lighting up the skies like the Blue Angels there. I don't know what's going on, but he is definitely hard on the brakes going into the turn. That's definitely going to allow Gary Adamson the ability to get back up alongside of him, and it's going to be a drag race down to turn one to see who is going to actually take this. Gary Adamson up high. He is going to get off back in that turn up on the inside, gaining the advantage. Kenny Powell doing the same thing. It's going to be a three-way drag race. Jose Acosta, though, going to be the beneficiary of second place after quite a struggle.
Yeah, definitely a big battle. We saw almost even 3 wide, but Chris Severa has had a pretty good recovery, if you will. He's right there on the back end of Kenny Powell. We saw him drag racing Frank Flores to take that 5th place spot. So I don't think that Chris Severa is done yet, but it's going to be very hard to catch up to Brandon Passalacqua, considering he is already well outside of range, about almost 11 and a half seconds between him and Chris Severa in 5th.
Yeah, Severa's definitely going to have to eat up his own mess, and that's exactly what he's doing right now. As you watch him, he is definitely manipulating the currents better than everybody.
Oh, contact between the 36 and the 24.
Yeah, unfortunately, he just kind of found himself in a G&G sandwich with Gary Adamson and Kenny Powell. Not where he wants to be, but that allowed Jose to kind of get a little bit of a runaway.
Yeah, definitely. But here comes Chris Severa to the inside, and he is going to take over the 3rd place position. Oh, almost. I think Chris Severa is maybe overdriving it. I think he's feeling the desperation right now. I don't think we've seen the last mistake there from that 62.
Yeah, but the tires will handle it. So that's the one thing that's in their favor, because he's not the only one that's smoking the tires. Jose Acosta's doing the same thing. The one thing is Brandon Passalacqua, he can't see what we're seeing. So best case, he's got a spotter that's giving him the relative about what's going on, but no one's really in his ear letting him know exactly what's happening. So that works out to the benefit of the other drivers, because so as long as he doesn't know they're making mistakes, he just keeps doing what he's doing.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if there's somebody's in his ear, though, because, I mean, Brandon Passalacqua, of course, recent addition to the G&G roster. I wouldn't be surprised if Chris Severa and Kenny Powell might be letting him know what happened.
Well, yeah.
I mean, he doesn't have the view, though, to see exactly what happened. I'm sure he's going to get to see it later, but right now he's focused up. That's what he needs to do. I mean, I wouldn't even be surprised, though, Big Al, that these guys are very silent in their communications right now. 'Cause this takes so much focus, you can't talk.
I was going to say he's in their Discord, but aside from him hearing, S and F and crap and bleep and bleep, You know, I couldn't even imagine if he's a Christian, he wouldn't want to be in my Discord, because if I had made the mistakes that Wachinski or Severa did, I'm trusting you, my mama wouldn't even want to hear what I had to say.
Yeah. Gary Adamson, though, trying to catch up there to Kenny Powell. Of course, Adamson has shown significant pace here tonight. Trying to work his way up. He, of course, was up in the top 3 not long ago.
And look, we're not mad. We're not mad at all at Brandon Pasalacqua. He is doing exactly what he needed to do. I mean, somebody threw this dude a couple of lemons. He made some lemonade. He made a lemon pie. He made a lemon meringue pie. He made some lemon cookies. I mean, yeah, way to go. He made some lemon water. I love this dude.
Yeah, definitely a great guy on and off the track. Love to hang out with him. Just have not seen a bad thing from Brandon Pasalacqua. He just always puts together good races and always has the best attitude. Never seen an angry thing said about him, really.
Real big race going on here right now. That's going to be for second place, as Christopher has caught up to the 42 of Jose Acosta. These two going to be doing everything they can. Jose's going to be trying to keep Chris at bay, but Chris has got to go. He is feeling it right now. He's got his go boots on, and he knows that he is losing valuable time to catch up to Brandon Pasalacqua. The longer he stays back at bay, the farther Brandon gets away.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to catch him. I think that is such a... Unless Brandon makes a mistake. Now, one thing... Oh, a little bit of lock up there from the 6-2, but he is able to make... Oh, he slides it and spins it around!
And there it is again. And then just like that, poof, he gone.
So that leaves us, I do believe, with only 6 drivers, as I think Chris Severa has taken the tow. Unfortunate. Chris Severa went from second place in this race, even led some laps, to now only finishing in 7th, possibly. You know that Brandon Pasalacqua got to be sighing even more relief, as no one is even able to hold a candle to what this driver has been able to do so far tonight. And I bet Kenny Powell's pretty dang happy, too, at the moment. Of course, he is sitting in 3rd right now, and he's been complaining all week that he hasn't had time to practice this track.
I mean, he might be happy, but his production just kind of got turned into a shit show because of yours truly, so...
Well, I wouldn't say that that's your fault that Chris Severa spun out. I don't think that was your fault. I think that Chris was just desperate. I think that, that's just, he was desperate, Big Al. I mean, when you're desperate like that, especially he made that first mistake. We talked about that earlier as well, that when you make that first mistake, you're bound to make another one most of the time because you're dwelling on that last mistake and you're not focusing on what you're doing, right? And you're desperate. You're trying to get back that time.
I think they're going to put me in the movies.
What movies?
They're going to put me in the movies.
That's right. Some Big Al karaoke just to lift the spirits here.
They're going to make a big star out of me. Oh, you should come and see me. All I gotta do is act naturally. Most people won't know that song.
That's fine. We're loving your rendition of it.
But I bet you I'm gonna be a big star. All right, I'll leave it at that. Because I can play the part really
You said you were going to... Keep going. No, I mean...
The movies are gonna make me a big star.
I like that. I never heard that song before.
Little Buck Owens right there, man.
Buck Owens, huh?
I do believe so, yeah.
Never heard that song before. That must be before my time.
Man, most things are before your time.
I'm not that young. I know you're older than me. I know you're about 70, the way you tell it.
Well, I mean, hell. But yeah, that's just a little country right there. That's a little throwback. Hey, are you a country fella?
Oh, I love some country.
Well, who's your favorite country music singer?
Yeah, I mean, that's a tough one right there. I think recently I'd say Morgan Wallen. I like him.
Woo! Love me some Morgan, man. Got a little man crush going on some Morgan Wallen right there.
What a great race, though, for Jose Acosta. Went a lap down because of that unfortunate caution, but he now sits in second place. And he's actually catching Brandon Passalacqua right now. I think that might be because Passalacqua's saving gas.
Well, that and the fact that, I mean, it ain't no fun out there by yourself. So he has no reason to push it hard. He can just kind of get out there now and have a little bit of fun. And you don't really get to do that in racing. I don't care what kind of racing it is, how often you just get to go out there on the track and just kind of relax and have fun. Just talk to the machine, feel back, get your rhythm going. You know, you're not really wrapped up in the relative, if you will. Yeah, it's just a good night at the office, and everybody's getting paid. You know, even the tire changers is getting paid. Even the truck drivers is happy because he's watching you win, and he knows for this week at least he's hauling the King's chariot. You know what I mean?
Come on, get a rhythm.
When you get the blues, won't get rhythm. But you understand what I'm saying? When you win, that echoes throughout the organization. I mean, everybody from the girls at the front office all the way down to the, you know, to the dude just making sure that the grill's loaded up in the hall.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Risk it for the biscuit. So really happy for Brandon that right now he's actually being able to not only come out here and dominate with a 19-second lead, but actually to be able to even enjoy that, man, because a victory is a victory, especially in the ISCA.
Yeah, they're very definitely hard to come by. And I think that he would have been one that was probably going to win the race no matter what. I think that even he's been fast all night long. He's utterly dominated this thing. I mean, that would make him get the max points that you could possibly get if he wins this race. And, of course, Chris Severa in the points lead right now. But unfortunately, though, Brandon's not going to be able to take too much advantage of it, just considering, like he said in his interview when we talked to him, he's not a regular participant in a Saturday series.
Yeah, that's very true. But you know what, though? Frank Flores is. And he's currently in fourth place, Brian.
That he is. He's getting some points here tonight. He's definitely getting a good point stay. I mean, especially some drivers not able to make it to this race. I know Josh Schaffner won. Some other drivers as well that are ahead of him in the points might find themselves not being ahead of him after this race.
And that's definitely got to make those guys feel good as well, man, because a fourth-place finish is a fourth-place finish. That's a big payday.
And it could even be better than that. I mean, we've seen, Frank seems like he's faster than Kenny Powell. I mean, could.
Ooh, now how special would that be if Frank Flores, the Triple F, was actually able to catch up and pass the 24 and actually find himself on the podium tonight?
It could be a distinct possibility. I think Kenny Powell could even find himself up in second place, possibly. I mean, you see, he's starting to catch Jose Acosta at the moment. Of course, Jose's been locking him up in every corner, it seems to be.
Yeah, eventually that is going to take its toll, though, because those tires only have so much tread on them. And, even though you don't really get that tire wear at a road course, if you keep lighting them up like that and you see that smoke, well, that's indicative of friction. And I'm going to guarantee you that's going to that's not going to play out in his favor.
Yeah, it's definitely going to cause premature wear. Even though wear doesn't seem to affect these drivers as much, you do that enough, it will matter a lot more. You'll find yourself doing that even more and more and more, and eventually those tires are just going to give up on you.
And then you get a little Kenny Rogers action going. You beg to find time to leave me loose, Will.
But right now, Brandon Passalacqua, of course, in the lead with Jose Acosta sitting in second. Kenny Powell's in third. Frank Flores sits in fourth. Greg Wachinski in sixth place. Of course, he just, I do believe, passed by Gary Adamson, who started this race on the outside pole and now finds himself in the sixth place position. Chris Severa, of course, now 3 laps down after his big moment on the racetrack.
You call that a big moment?
Yeah, it was a big bad moment. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, he was huffing and puffing and burning his tires down. I mean, and unfortunate for Chris because he definitely he came all the way up through the field and was in second place as soon as the caution flag was gone and the green flag came out. But just two separate incidents after that just ultimately caused our points leader to just kind of drift on back away from the field.
Yeah, so no matter what, we are going to see Chris Severa lose that points gap that he has. But, I mean, it might not be too bad. I mean, I think he'll still come out of this race with the points lead. But it still will be put him a little bit more of a desperation. Of course, next week, Richmond. And that's going to be a tricky one as well. I mean, that's going to be a track that's all about throttle control. A lot of guys on Thursday, we talked about Richmond, didn't seem very excited about that racetrack.
Yeah, I think everybody's going to be excited about Richmond after coming out of here, man. Although the Circuit of the Americas is one of the most awesome tracks in the world, thank you for the sponsors, thank you for the venue, thank you for the opportunity. I think these guys are going to be really just looking for something that's a little bit less complicated, maybe with 4 turns. Preferably all left.
Yeah. But, I mean, this is still a very useful test and in a way for these drivers to get acclimated to it. I mean, this is going to give them that hunger to get better and better, to actually put more preparation into it. Because when you come to a track like this and you're not fully prepared, it makes you want to put more time in. Because, I mean, that is the key is perfect practice equals perfect. And road courses are just that way. I mean, you can't come to a track like this and expect to just automatically be good. You go to Richmond, you could go to that track and maybe not practice so much. But here, you definitely can't do that. I mean, the only person I think that we could talk to that hasn't, was able to come in here without practicing was Abner Acosta, which he said that, hey, that just comes from years of already running around this track,
Yeah, absolutely. Kenny Powell now putting a bumper to Jose Acosta, the older brother of Abner. Now, right now, Powell's definitely found himself all the way up onto the back of the 42. And, the thing about it here, Brian, and here he comes, he's going to try to make his move. Looks like Powell's going to be clear through to second place. Now, that's not going to make Jose out of the woods yet because Wachinski is going to be doing everything he can to try to reel him in. And like you said earlier, Frank Flores is pretty fast as well. So still 13 laps to go. This thing is far from over, man. That is that translates into a lot of racing here on this side.
You see Jose definitely driving in deep, trying to get to the back bumper of Kenny Powell, but not able to do so. He goes wide. Now, what's the incidents counter looking like right now, Big Al? Anybody close to having to do that drive-through?
If anybody was close, it would be Jose because he's sitting at 14, so which means 2 more, and he will be finding himself coming on down to talk to the man. Kenny Powell, though, at 13, he's not too confident, but Brandon Pasalacqua, he is because he's still sitting at a snug 4.
Yeah, that is definitely very low. 4 incidents. He's been almost having a near-perfect race here tonight. But, yeah, Jose, I mean, not surprising, even though I would say I'd hoped that he would have gotten better from Thursday. Of course, Thursday he almost got even close to being disqualified.
Well, yeah, he still has to play it pretty close here, Brian, because 2 more, and he's doing a drive-through.
And one thing about it, I kind of talked to Kenny Powell on Thursday after the race, and he mentioned about why they had the incident point thing being, so relevant here in this ISCA race at COTA. Well, the reason is because if they didn't, drivers would be able to use every inch of this track and take huge advantages. Even some drivers have told me that you could get a second advantage by going off the track and utilizing some of the places on this track that were not meant to be utilized.
Yeah, well, good luck with that. Not here tonight because all eyes are on deck watching everything that these guys are doing. It's only 5 cars, 6 cars that still remain in this thing. Gary Adamson finds himself the last car. He's still on the lead lap. Some 47 seconds behind the leader, though. But still, we appreciate everything that he's doing.
Yeah, and I think Gary Adamson has really impressed a lot of people here tonight. I feel like he ran in second. He ran on the podium for a long time here. But also keep in mind, I mean, I remember he messaged me a couple weeks back saying he was recovering from an injury. And that made it very difficult for him to use that brake foot, from what I heard. So this could even be to where that brake foot, after a couple weeks off of not working it, could be starting to catch up with him right now. And that might be why he slowed down.
Yeah, especially on a road course here. I mean, and not only that, but you're on Saturday night of a road course that we started on Monday. So with the repetitions, the practice, and the constant repetition, yeah, I definitely can understand why he would be a little worse for wear. So appreciate Gary for being out here still, man, putting in the miles, because it's going to be a heck of a payday for him and his camp.
Yeah, and just surviving. You know, we've seen a lot of these drivers out here have had a little bit of catastrophe kind of hit their team. Chris Severa, Austin Derbyshire, Paul Olson, Pedro Enrique, just surviving this race gets you 6th place. I mean, even though, yeah, that's not in the top 50% of this event, when you look back at the race results, you still see 6th. You still see a good finish. No one's going to remember that, oh, yeah, that race only had 10 people in it, you know? They're going to remember that, hey, they look at the stats, 6th place, you know?
I think they're going to remember Big Al through the competition caution.
Well, that's another thing entirely, Big Al.
Oh, they hadn't forgot that yet?
They might have, until you mentioned it. But Kenny Powell looking to see if he can't get himself a 2nd place finish. So he locks up tires, go wide.
Now he's really going to be competing for 3rd and 4th, because he's got Greg Wachinski and Jose Acosta, which are right there now. Talk about blood in the water.
Yeah, they definitely can smell the blood. Jose Acosta going to try to see if he can't take advantage here. As he does go back up into 2nd. Greg Wachinski has to lock him up to stay off of Kenny Powell, and that's going to cost him some time. I think Wachinski's got a 2nd place car right now. I think that Wachinski, he's shown really good pace. He's been very, very consistent, but that just slowed him down. But I think he still could get up there and battle for that 2nd place.
Well, here comes turn 1. This is going to be where the moves are made. Look at Kenny Powell trying to back his turn up and try to get the most advantageous launch that he can. So if Wachinski wants to make it onto the podium, the one thing he's got to do is simply get around the 24 Kenny Powell. If he can do that, he's one step closer. Now, Jose, he just got to look out for Jose. He doesn't need to worry about the 24 Powell. He definitely doesn't need to worry about the 6 of Brandon Pasalacqua. He's just got to worry about who's running the deer that's on his hood. And if that's him, then he needs to be dialed in and paying attention to that, because one lapse of judgment, Brian, and his whole scenario changes.
Yeah, 100%. This is definitely going to just be the battle for 2nd place. Brandon Pasalacqua is in another zip code right now, 40 seconds ahead. Look, Kenny Powell drives it in deep, and he's able to get the power off. That was surprising. Jose Acosta trying to, I do believe, break the draft here.
Blood in the water. I mentioned that before, even in terms of Jose Acosta, the way he was feeling Kenny Powell. Powell knew that his lapse of judgment is the only reason why Jose is in front of him. You understand
Kenny
that?
Powell's trying to outbrake contact, and he spins almost. I don't know. I mean, I'm looking at these corners. This track, I even heard Kevin Harvick in today's broadcast for the truck race talked about that, hey, you know, I make mistakes at this track all the time. A lot of people try to go into these corners really narrow. And I think that a lot of these drivers are doing exactly that here tonight. I think that they are not trying to arc it as much as they should. You know, you see Kenny Powell really desperately trying to outbreak and go underneath
No.
Jose Acosta. That's not working. Doesn't seem like it works.
I think it is. I think because here's the deal. This is what you got to understand. Even though Powell is a puff of smoke here and there, if Jose gets one more incident point, he finds himself coming down pit road for a roll through, and then Powell just rolls on into second place with 10 laps to go, and Jose will never recover. Now, even though Powell has 14 incident points, he still understands that he has to apply firm pressure onto the back end of the 42 Jose Acosta. You ain't got to pass him, Brian. You just got to let him know that you're back there, and sometimes that's going to be enough to push him over the edge.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying. Just definitely put some pressure on him for sure. But I mean, Kenny almost spun it out himself there. If he gets a 2X or another 1X after that, he's going to have to do the same thing.
Again, if he spins out again, but that's one reason it keeps him, in check, because he's only got 8 incident points, so he really doesn't have to worry about it.
Yeah, I mean, wouldn't that be something to see Greg Wyszynski not even have to fire a shot, win the war without having to fire a shot, not even having to battle with these guys. It's just, they're not, they have to pit, so no more fighting them. I'm up in second, Yeah, and that also helps out Frank Flores. It also helps out Gary Adamson. Those guys have to go down pit road on a green flag stop.
Yeah, but unfortunately, though, Powell can't be conservative. If he's got 2 choices now, either he lets Wyszynski go by and allows Wyszynski to put that pressure on Jose, or he gets up there himself and he just goes, one life left. You don't respawn. If you die on this one, you're done.
Coming up on, I do believe, 8 laps to go here. So the time is definitely quickly approaching where we will be crowning a winner here. I think the question is who gets second. Yeah, that's the question.
Second and third. I think that's going to be the question right now.
100%, and it could even be second, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth. If these guys, 8 laps doesn't sound like a lot, Big Al, but 1X can happen very easily at a track like this.
Yeah, no joke. How many X's you got?
Yeah, I definitely got a couple of them. That's for sure.
And just to go in
all my exes live in South Carolina.
Well, this track is in Texas, right?
That's right.
All my exes live in Texas.
Oh, yeah, all these guys' exes are in Texas right now.
That's exactly what I'm screaming.
Wyszynski not relenting. Definitely still putting pressure on Kenny Powell as they come through these S's. This has got to be one of the most difficult parts of this racetrack, these S's. This track is so hard. It's difficult to put together a whole lap around this place. It's nothing short of a miracle, especially in my case.
Yeah, we still got 9 more laps to go around this thing, so that's still a long time. That's still almost 20 minutes left of racing. So, yeah, it's just, anything's bound to happen.
Heck, even Brandon Poncelacqua could have an issue. Being all by yourself on the racetrack.
That'd be pretty lonesome.
It definitely has got to be. At least Greg Wyszynski, Kenny Powell, and Jose, they have someone to judge themselves on, reference points on how to, be better than the driver in front of you. Brandon doesn't have that. He is just relying on only his muscle memory of this track.
Yeah, that and the fact that he's savory, sultry voice of Big Al. Taking them on down to Victory Lane here on a lazy Saturday afternoon at the COTA track. He's just out there enjoying the drive on the way home. No traffic in his sight. Was that too much?
The ladies' man, Big Al.
But that is
to the ladies' man.
Yeah, that is actually the way he's kind of feeling, though. He's like, man, they're talking about traffic. I don't see no traffic. Nothing in front of him right now. He's just chasing a checkered flag.
Yeah, for sure. He probably thinks that he has no clue there's anyone else even on the racetrack at the moment.
I mean, really, honestly, Brian, from where he's sitting, there really isn't. We're going to be watching this battle here for second place as Kenny Powell slowly. I mean, he's got to be feeling desperate at this point because Jose Acosta passed him, and it was really kind of, Kenny, if you listen to this, when you listen to this, the fact that Jose passed you, it's not because he's faster than you are, it's because you made some mistakes. So unmake those mistakes. You got to get up there down. You got to put pressure on Jose. That's the key. Because I'm telling you, he's still sitting at 15 incident points. One more, Brian, and he's going to find himself coming down pit road.
It's actually 2 more there, Big Al. 17 is the limit. So these guys, if they get 17 X's, have to do a pass-through. 25 means you're out of the race completely. But, yeah, I mean, looking at lap times here, Greg Wyszynski faster than both Kenny Powell and Jose Acosta, but Kenny Powell faster than Jose. So this battle is not over by a long shot. Of course, Jose has been abusing the tires, but I love what I'm seeing, though, from these drivers into the second, third, and fourth place. As this race has gone on, they've gotten faster and faster. Oh, Kenny locking him up. Look at the smoke there. Tell you what, he's having himself a barbecue on them race tires. And look how much time he lost because of that. Oh, yeah, he is. That might be it for Kenny Powell. I think that's going to be an off track for him.
Yeah, he's still at 15.
Oh, that was not an off track. Okay, a little bit of a wiggle room there for him. But still, you could tell how much that affected his tires, him locking them up like that for, I mean, he had to about 20 feet to where those tires were locked up. He put a lot of rubber on that pavement.
Yeah, he's definitely going to have to, take it really easy to kind of get the heat out of those tires right now.
Yeah, I think that a little too late, though. I mean,
well, right now, I think the best thing is you let Greg Wyszynski get up here. Oh, Kenny Powell, that's definitely going to seal his deal as he is off into the wilderness. Now it's 16 points.
One more, and he will have to pit to serve that penalty. And that is going to put possibly Frank Flores and Gary Adamson into the picture for the top 5.
Yeah, now, Gary, you just, at this point, you just want Greg to be able, I mean, and I'm not even saying this because I'm on everybody's side. I'm non-biased, but you just want to get Wyszynski up there to put pressure onto Jose so maybe he suffers a similar fate, because otherwise, this whole thing is for naught.
Yeah, I think that Greg definitely has the pace. He's been significantly faster than Jose Acosta. I think eventually we're going to definitely see these two battle it out.
And here he is right now. You see how he just slowly pulls up onto the back of the 42. Each lap he does that, 7 laps to go, Jose starts to feel that. It's a little bit of a pressure cooker scenario that's going on there. And like I said, Wyszynski has nothing to worry about. He doesn't have any incidence point. So you just put pressure on Jose, make Jose go a little wider than he wants to on a couple of turns. Hey, you're good to go, baby. You got second place sold up.
Taking a look, we got the cockpit camera here of Greg Wyszynski for everyone's viewing pleasure. A lot of things about this track are so difficult. Having to shift through all these corners, that's something that they also got to keep track of. Very easy to blow these engines, especially if you downshift too early. And also, if you downshift too early, it upsets the race car. So it's not just slowing down for these corners, Big Al. Like that is the lead. Of course, that is a big deal as well. Having to, learning when to brake at the right time. You also got to know when to shift at the right time. I mean, there's so many variables here that make this so difficult and really almost a miracle that anyone's able to make it around this track as well as these guys are.
Really? I mean, a miracle?
For me, relative to me, yes, this looks like a miracle to me that they're able to have this all. I mean, it takes preparation to know what gear I need to be at this part of the racetrack, what RPM I need to be in. I mean, that's what makes road racing so difficult. You have to know how to drive that car. Like in an oval, you can make that work and you know, not even have to shift or anything like that. When you come to a road course, drivers succeed at road courses, right? Real drivers, bona fide drivers succeed at these tracks. You have to know that car, every inch of it, know what RPMs you need to be in, like I said, to shift.
Yeah, I mean, it's backing up corners, is when to accelerate, is when to brake, is how much to brake. You know, some people over-brake.
That's a whole checklist right there that you have to keep in your mind for 47 laps.
Well, there's only 5 laps left to go.
And the battle for second still underway. Only about a half a second, a couple tenths separate Jose Acosta and Greg Wyszynski.
But remember that pressure that I was talking about. So now, just like that, Jose Acosta finds himself with 16 X's. So one more, Brian, and he has no choice but to come and see the Sandman.
And also, I mean, who's to say that Greg Wyszynski doesn't give him that X, right? Like
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's about applying that pressure. It's about just being there in his relative. It's about being in his head. Because honestly, can Jose go 5 more full laps around this thing without making another X? I don't think so. You remember he X'd out on Thursday night as well, Brian.
That's right. He definitely did. Brandon Pasalakwa, though, a minute on the field. Now, if you remember on Thursday, Abner Acosta had only 20 seconds at the end. So that is going to be a huge gap. I mean, a minute.
Yeah, but Abner was conserving fuel, so it's a lot different scenario there because we did have that competition caution, which did, you know, cause that lead to really kind of dwindle away.
Yeah, but I mean, think about that, though, Big Al. In that short amount of time, Brandon Pasalakwa was pulled away to a minute. Like, that caution, you know, that was thrown was around lap 24. And it went back green at about, what, lap 26 or 27. So, I mean, he's only had 15 laps or so to build this lead, and it's already this large. That's an accomplishment. He's definitely shown significant speed. I'd like to see the Brandon Pasalakwa we see today versus Abner Acosta on Thursday, because I think that, you know what I mean, the more time that he spent out here, the better I think that Brandon's gotten.
Yeah, absolutely. Right now, just watching Greg Wyszynski as he gets closer and closer to Jose Acosta. Jose's definitely feeling the burden here. Oop, that was the last X, I do believe.
Oh, no.
Still not showing yet. But the best thing is, if you didn't get an X, just let that man go.
Yeah, if I was Jose, if I did not get an X there, I would be like, okay, Greg's gotten by me. I'm not trying to get up there to him. I just want to stay in third. Stay within the lines, you know?
Yep, just let that man go. Let that man live in peace.
And that has created to where I don't believe there are any fights for position at the moment. So at the moment, Brandon Pasalakwa in the first spot, of course, over a minute in front of Greg Wyszynski, who sits in second at the moment. Jose Acosta in third. Kenny Powell in fourth. Frank Flores in fifth. Gary Adamson in sixth place. So those are the drivers that are still in competition right now. Chris Severa, 14 laps down in seventh. Austin Darbyshire is 25 laps down in eighth. Paul Olson, 34 laps down in ninth. Pedro Enrique in 10th at the moment, 36 laps down. Of course, I do believe Pedro was able to turn the fastest laps of tonight's competition, but unfortunately, does not matter if you're not able to stick with it. Coming up on 3 laps to go very soon. Of course, Jose still not that far back from Wachinski. I don't think he's done. I think Jose, despite the fact that he needs to walk on eggshells at the moment, I don't think he's doing it. I think he's like, I don't care, Big Al. I'm going to try to get me a second-place position. I think, like you said, I think he should stay within his means right now and just finish the race. But I don't think he's got that in mind.
If I was Greg Wachinski, I would totally slow down and drag him into the abyss. I mean, honestly, because at that point it puts it at a G&G 1, 2, 3. So, so as long as Kenny can kind of sit back and ration himself, control himself, I would definitely allow Jose to feel like he has an opportunity to get by me. I'm just saying it's the strategy of racing.
Yeah, we've seen that plenty of times before, to where you kind of coax and leave that bait to where you think that, I'm faster than him, and you drive it a little bit harder, and you make a mistake. And I think that's definitely what Greg might be thinking about doing.
Yeah, because Wachinski's had a solid run here tonight. I mean, this guy, he's been solid here all week. So heads out to him. I love the new paint scheme. It's almost like a new Greg as well,
100%.
Every time you say 100%, I've been taking a drink. So,
I guess we can blame you throwing that caution on that.
Yeah, it's Brian. Yeah, absolutely, 100%. Look, at least it was only 5 cars when I threw the caution. Had it been like a 20-car field,
yeah, like on Thursday, that would have been a bad deal.
That competition caution just made things more exciting.
Look at this, though. I mean, Brandon Pasalacqua is in a whole nother realm right now, a whole nother league of his own. I mean, last time by 2-minute 12.973 versus Greg Wachinski, who hit a 2:16.8. I mean, that is, wow. That is a big difference. 4 seconds lap time difference. I think, Pasalacqua, now 2 laps to go. Can he make it these 2 laps without an incident? I mean, if I was him, I'd just be like, okay, I'm just waving at the fans, not worried about too much. You also got to keep in mind that he was concerned a little bit that he might not be able to make it on fuel. Said that he felt like one of his issues was that he's not very good at saving gas at these tracks.
Two laps to go, just 2 laps remaining out of the 47. We also started this field with 10 cars. Now it looks like we're down to just 6. Gary Adamson doing everything he can to stay on that lead lap. I think he will, Brian. Honestly, I don't see any reason why he should actually fall to Brandon Pasalacqua, even though Pasalacqua is slowly bringing him into his own fray. 2 drivers sitting at 16 incident points. That's going to be the 42 Jose Acosta, currently in 3rd place, as well as the 24 Kenny Powell, currently in 4th place. 1 more slip for either one of those 2 drivers, Brian, and it's going to cause their nights to end catastrophically.
Yeah, I think one of the things I don't think we've touched on a lot here tonight, though, Big Al, is the elevation changes on this track. There are quite a bit of humps and hills and things of that nature that can very well upset the car, especially in turn
Texas?
1.
In Texas?
Yeah, I mean, Texas is definitely known for being very flat, but you can see that there are some elevation changes around here.
Well, yeehaw, who knew?
I mean, a lot of those humps and stuff like that, unsettle the car.
What kind of humps are those?
They're not big humps. My humps, my humps, my humps.
What are you gonna do with all those humps?
And look at that. The white flag is out on the racetrack as Brandon Pasalacqua comes around the racetrack for the last time
It's almost like a parade lap for him right now. He's just got to keep doing what he's been doing for so long. And if the 36 of Gary Adamson can keep doing what he's doing, that means this whole thing will end and we'll have 6 cars that actually stayed on the lead lap. And I think that's the goal that we're going for right here now, Brian.
Yeah, I think so for sure. Kenny Powell, though, he's got the caution lights on for himself there. He's definitely not wanting to get that 17 X's. Frank Flores has been catching him because of that.
Yeah, he's got Flores like right in his rearview mirror, and Flores himself only sitting at 11 incident points. This definitely could prove to be problematic for the 24 Powell.
And what a job for Frank Flores. This might be, I think, one of his first top 5s in the ISCA.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, definitely a strong finish for that camp. Everybody eats the steak tonight on his team. Nobody having to do dishes.
And here we go. Brandon Passalacqua coming through these corners for the final time as we close in on the checkered flag. It's going to be quite a while before second crosses the line. Brandon Passalacqua going to be out of the car and enjoying dinner by the time second place Greg Wachinski catches.
Easy. He'll have his order in, but I don't think they will have served him yet.
He might have already got his drink. He's going to have his Corona sitting there at the table.
We doing Coronas tonight?
That's what we got in Victory Lane here in Texas.
Oh, right.
And here he comes through the final set of corners. Oh, Gary Adamson stopped on the racetrack. Might be out of fuel. But it looks like Passalacqua does put him a lap down.
Mr. Adamson, that's not going to be good for him.
So Brandon Passalacqua does get the victory here.
Yeah, I think that was a formidable protest. I don't think he was out of gas.
Yeah, I don't think he was either. I think he might have made a mistake there on that final corner. That's the mistake to make. I mean, on the final lap.
I think he's just trying to park it at the start-finish line just to prove a point.
Almost like Josh Williams in the Xfinity Series.
Yeah, I think that's what that was.
We'll just say it was, as he gives the peace sign to the rest of the audience out there. Greg Wachinski still has yet to cross the start-finish line as Brandon Passalacqua. I mean, you could tell this is over a minute in between these drivers. It takes a while for these guys to get to where Passalacqua is as they come through the Whataburger turn. And there's the last corner there. Greg Wachinski is going to come home second. I think this might be one of the best finishes he's had all season long.
Yep, just watching that 24 Powell, making sure he makes his last couple turns clean. Looks like Frank Flores is not going to give him any breathing room whatsoever. Flores trying to push the issue. He might make contact with Powell.
Oh, and there it goes. Frank Flores is going to take over fourth. And that might have actually hurt Kenny.
That's going to hurt. Yeah, big time.
He lets him go. What a stand-up guy.
It doesn't matter.
Did you see that?
It doesn't matter at that point because Powell's been assessed a penalty, which will be assessed at the end of the run, which means he's going to finish all the way down in 5th or 6th place as opposed to being on the podium.
Frank Flores tried his best to give that back to him, but Kenny had already went over the incident limit. Wow.
And we were watching that. We were watching to see exactly how it happened. So as your finish rounds up, Brandon Passalacqua, your winner at the 6th car. Greg Wachinski comes in P2. Jose Acosta now going to be, Jose has 17 as well. Not sure how that's going to play out.
I think that Jose crossed the line and got to 17 after he crossed the line.
Okay, so Frank Flores in 4th, Kenny Powell all the way down to 5th. Gary Adamson in 6th. Chris Severa tags out in 7th with Austin Darbyshire in 8th. 9th place is going to be Paul Osen, and 10th place is going to be Pedro Enrique. And we're going to take a pause for the calls right now, ladies and gentlemen, and we'll be back with our post-race coverage.
Hey everybody, my name is Warren Maddox. I am the president of Ultimate Experience Outdoors. Our mission, we are dedicated to taking veterans, first responders, youth, and Gold Star family members on outdoor excursions across the country.
Support for our mission has many forms, from camp cooks to the great storytellers, some buddies with the band, maybe you just want to build a campfire and sit around and listen. Nothing goes unnoticed.
Camaraderie is reborn. The acceptance among the men and women that took an oath.
Whether it was decades ago or recently renewed, but never forgotten.
If you feel like you could help us, please visit our website, www.uxonation.org.
There, you can register to hunt, sign up to sponsor an event, or even donate to us so we can continue to execute our mission.
Oh my gosh, I'm so talking, bro. We get a hug, right? What have you done, Jim?
We need your help to hold the line once again.
Experience traditional Brazilian cuisine, served with the hospitality that Texas is famous for. Here at Texas de Brazil, you simply turn your card to green, and expert carvers serve you fine cuts of beef, lamb, pork, chicken, and Brazilian sausage. Turn your card to red when you want a break. Then repeat. Make reservations now at texasdebrazil.com.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen, of course, with our post-race show. We're going to be joined in the booth by our third-place finisher, Jose Acosta. By the skin of his teeth, I think you got 17 X's there, Jose. I think, was that after you crossed the line that you got that? Didn't have to serve a penalty?
Yeah, I think I crossed the line, and I parked right outside the in the grass right there in the first turn.
Now, how hard was it to avoid that? I know you kind of got really close there with your battle with Kenny Powell and Greg Wychinski. You guys were kind of the closest all race long. What was going through your mind? Did you expect it? You know, you were going to make it to the end, because I know it got really close. I know Kenny Powell had to suffer from that same issue to where he actually did cross that 17 threshold.
Yeah, I think I had an incident with somebody at one point. It gave me only 2x, but the rest was actually getting out of bounds. And I thought I was gonna get hit. Either I was gonna hit the 5, or somebody was gonna bump me some way that it was gonna give me 1x more and take me out. But I was like, you know what? Whatever. If I get disqualified, it is what it is. And you know, maybe not being comfortable is the best thing.
Maybe. I mean, I know you also raced on Thursday, and you did actually get that 17 X's, and almost even got to where you almost got disqualified. Did you come into this race with a little bit of a different mindset to avoid that?
Actually, last Thursday, I've been having a problem with my force feedback, and I raced that whole race with no force feedback, and that's why I spun out. And then I hit the wall, and the alignment of the car was not right, and I just took it to the garage. I think I had 14x by then when that happened, 14 or maybe a little bit less, something like that. And
I
I just
thought
never
you finished that race
got out
with
of the car.
21 X's.
No, it was like 14x. I'm not sure if I didn't, because I know I didn't turn on my car and it blew up in the pit. I don't know if I get more X's because of that. But
That's
at the end,
interesting.
that also happened.
Well, that's definitely interesting. I could have swore that you had like 21 by the end of that race, but well, definitely I stand corrected for sure. But you finished third in this one. I know, it was more of a race of attrition out here. A lot of drivers having more issues, what was your preparation like coming into tonight's race? I know you had Thursday to kind of go through the muscle memory and figure and learn the track a little bit more there. Do you feel like that helped you at all here tonight?
Yeah, of course, a little bit. And then right before our practice started, I was actually testing a little bit, trying to get used to the turn and to the car. I'm not really strong in road courses, so nothing close like my brother, and I know he has a lot more practice than me, and I'm just, basically kind of like starting on all this stuff. But yeah, I mean, just a little bit of practice, basically. I mean, I know we only have a small field today, but yeah, I mean, just a little bit of practice and stay out of the trouble, and that's how I got there. That yellow flag, I was not expecting that at the end there, but even I ran out of gas. That's one of the things that throw me off a little bit. I was about to pit, yellow flag came out, so I was like, okay, so I'm not gonna pit. And then right when I passed the pit stop, I'm like, oh my god, I can't make another lap.
Oh
And then
wow!
yeah, and then I ran out of gas, and the when I decided to tow my car, it was actually 2 minutes and a half, and I actually was towed to the garage and to the pit stop, and the whole 2 minutes and a half actually went away before the pace car actually passed me. So that's how I managed to stay in the lead. So I
Yeah,
was
we were
surprised
solving.
because
You
of
got to
that.
know at some point it did say you were a lap down, and that's surprising. Of course, that if you had that happen at maybe another track, a shorter road course or something like that, it might not have been
Yeah,
so good for you, right?
yeah, definitely. I was just lucky that I wasn't a lap down, and on top of that, I know other people were involved in other issues. I would have finished maybe fifth or sixth if other people that had no issue, like Chris. I know he's spun out twice, so yeah, it would have been different.
100%, definitely. But you got to run all the laps, as Big Al always says, right? I mean, you got to run them all. Otherwise, you don't know where you're going to finish at. And you didn't give up. You were able to stay out there, and you kept on running. Going to give you a nice third place finish. Going to be some good points for you tonight. Richmond going to be coming up next week. I'm sure you're probably happy to move away from COTA. Go there,
Oh,
right?
geez, definitely, man. Richmond, it's a kind of neutral. I'm a neutral, and I have a neutral approach to that track. Um, I just gotta be consistent and stay out of penalty and stuff like that. And I think we're gonna be finishing in the top five, if anything.
Well, you definitely have been showing some really good speed for sure. You came on to the ISCA and you won a couple races, and we definitely ready to see you get back to victory lane for sure, Jose. Who can we give a shout out to after your third place finish?
And I'm gonna give a shout out to John Deere, TWRS for support, for the setup, uh, Team Pandereta Racing Team, Kenny for building the league, and you guys for the broadcast.
All right. Well, thanks for your time, Jose, and look forward to seeing you next week, man.
All right, thank you.
Alrighty, next up will be our second place finisher. Of course, that was just Jose Acosta, our third place finisher, started in seventh place. Definitely a good day for him, for sure. Of course, had his ups and downs, but he was able to get that podium. Next up, though, Greg Wachinski coming home with, I think, a season high second place. Big Al standing by.
Greg Wachinski, Big Al up in the booth. How are you doing, sir?
Good, Big Al. How you doing, my friend?
Man, I'll tell you what, I am super pumped up for you in that 5-car. New paint scheme, new lifeline, new everything, buddy. Everybody eats tonight. How are you feeling about your second place finish?
No, I never would have expected to finish second, but it feels pretty good. Just took slow and steady all night long. It paid off tonight.
Yeah, slow and steady. That's what they say wins the race, man. And was watching you, and actually, brother, you were doing everything right. A lot of guys had a lot of adversity. That's what I say. But you seem to have taken. At one point, I do believe I even told Brian. I said, they throw lemons at this guy, and he's making lemon pie. He's making lemon cookies, lemonade, and lemon water. And you did it all, sir. And you looked like a pro doing it tonight.
Yeah, I mean, I was when we had that yellow flag on the restart, I almost destroyed the car, completely spun it out. Man, I don't even know how I was able to get back up there. Just got back on the track and just took it slow and steady. Just try not to make any mistakes. I think I only ended with like 10x. So, obviously, Chris Severa, I mean, he got knocked out. So, I mean, I'm sure him and Brandon would have been battling pretty hard up there. It was a lot of fun. I'm not a big fan of this track. Thursday night's race was not fun. It was racing with Jose and Kenny. I mean, it was everybody was very respectful, clean, a lot of clean racing. So it was a good time actually tonight.
Yeah, there you go. You guys were actually battling one in mono, and actually, I don't know if you knew this or not, but both Jose Acosta and Kenny Powell were at the high end of their incident points. Both of those two drivers were sitting right at 16 for probably the last 10 laps of the race.
I wish I had known that because I would have definitely just given him a quick 1x and got him out of there. But
well, you know what? It speaks to the cleanliness, though, and how much respect you guys had for each other, because actually, you were actually able to finish. And I think the only driver that actually did bust was Kenny Powell there, and he's your G&G teammate. So,
yeah, I mean, it's a tough track. You get so many X's just, taking your wheels off into the green a little bit. I mean, it's extremely difficult track.
So how many laps you think you actually turned overall here since iRacing landed here in Texas on Monday evening? How many laps you think you would have put in on this whole operation in order to bring home a second place finish tonight?
I mean, I probably practiced about maybe 50 laps. Never ran any races this week. Did the race on Thursday, so I mean, not a ton. I mean, it wasn't even fun to practice. I mean, it's just a very difficult, frustrating track.
Well, I guess you kind of got paid off in the long run. But I tell you what, next week we're headed out to Richmond, so you only got 4 corners to navigate. You're gonna be. It seems like you're gonna be a lot relieved when we go there. But before, would Richmond be considered more like work or fun? Because I know it's going to probably be like a lot more fun after coming out of COTA. But how would you have viewed that track in seasons past?
I mean, I haven't gotten a whole lot of wins in the ISCA, but I have gotten a win there before, so I do like that track. I like short tracks.
So let me ask you this question. Big Al's always wanted to try to get people roped in to making predictions. Can I get you to make a prediction as far as where you're going to finish on Saturday night next Saturday night at Richmond? Can I get at least a podium from you?
I mean, a top 5 would be perfect for me.
But could I just, for my sponsors and my followers, could I just get you to say that you're going to be on the podium again next week? You think?
It's always possible. Anything is possible in racing.
All right, there it is, ladies and gentlemen. He said it's possible. Hey, before we let you go and you get out there and celebrate your second place finish, who you shouting out tonight?
Well, congratulations to Brandon. He ran a great race. That guy's just ridiculously fast. I think he finished the race well over a minute ahead of me. So, good job on him. Obviously, the G&G, Farmers Insurance, TWRS setups. Thanks to you guys, what you do, ISCA and Kenny for putting everything on.
All right, sir. As I always say, don't party too hard, and we'll see you hopefully on the podium again next week.
See you.
That was Greg Wachinski, our second place finisher. Next up, who finished well over a minute in front of Greg Wachinski, is Brandon Pasalacqua. And what a performance from him. I know we talked to you a little bit. I know on that impromptu caution, we kind of talked your ears off a little bit there, Brandon. But, it was well worth it. You kind of gave us a lot of insight, and you talked to like, oh, man, I think that Chris is going to come up here and challenge me. What was going through your mind when Chris Severa had his issues there? I mean, were you like, oh, wow, just a sigh of relief or what?
Yeah. Well, it was a sigh of relief when we saw him come down pit road when we were chatting. I figured that might give me some kind of space and some more time to navigate on cold tires. And maybe stretch the gap a little bit. But on that restart, he was in the second already coming out of the first turn. So I was like, here we go. But then I did see him turn it around and turn whatever 10 or 11 over there. But I figured he'd get back on track and he was going to catch me at some point during the run. So he didn't lose as much time as I thought he was going to, but ultimately just didn't work out for him. So it made my job just a little bit easier.
100% for sure. I mean, and you led the race high of 44 laps here. Of course, you're not really going for the Super Cup points in this series, so but you still maxed out as many points as you possibly could get. How does that make you feel? Probably wishes this was Thursday, right?
I wish, yeah, for sure. I was able to capture a lot of great points on Thursday, so I was proud of that. But almost pretty much maxing out here tonight would have been great on Thursday, but nonetheless, Saturday, I always wanted to run the Saturday nights. It's just I don't know if I'm always going to be around. But if I can stay within the top 16 when we get to the end of the season, maybe I can buckle down my schedule and then go for the Super Cup championship then. So when I have the free time to be able to join, I really love to do so. And being able to have great point stays like this really helps me out for sure.
Now, I know that you also last night participated in the Sebring 12-hour race. You, Josh Schaffner, Greg Wychinski, and Chris Severa. How do you think that helped you here? I know it's a completely different track. Do you think it maybe put you in the road course mindset, maybe?
Yeah, it's all about nailing each corner, and you have to be patient. You can't overdrive too much. So it puts you in the right mindset altogether. I think we talked a couple of weeks ago. Obviously, the cars are different and driving style is totally different, but the mindset's there, and you need to nail each corner and make optimize each corner. So that was great. It was a lot of fun. Greg was part of the team along with Severa and Josh Schaffner. Kenny Powell was hanging out with us all night. It was a super great experience. We were laughing for 12 hours straight. And I guess it worked out because Greg didn't have a do that great of a job on Thursday. Now he gets a podium here on Saturday. So it looks like he learned something with the 12 hours that we had last night.
Yeah, 100%. Definitely a big finish for G&G as well, a 1-2. Of course, he finishes so far behind you. I mean, you were in another zip code. Was that an issue for you being all by yourself on the racetrack and not having really anyone to judge yourself on? I know I covered that a little bit during the broadcast, talking about that could be a difficulty being all by yourself and losing focus.
Yeah, it's great for me to be in clean air here because I did turn a ton of laps here and I was able to when you're behind another car, you're missing your marks all the time because you're focused on watching them drive it into the corner. And if they mess up, you're going to mess up. It's just like follow the leader. So by me being out front, I'm able to hit most. I try to hit most of my marks. I'm a little bit better at it when I'm in clean air. So that helped me out. I did not have enough fuel. I know we talked about it at the break there. I did not have enough fuel to make it to the end. So I saved for 3 laps at the beginning of the run and then had to save for the last 2 laps. So me being in out there kind of by myself helped me get to the finish without having to pit. So it worked out.
Yeah, I think we even noticed that a little bit too, and it kind of called it into question when we saw Chris Severa kind of dip down pit road on that unpromptu pit there, and he kind of dropped down, put up some more fuel in the car, but luckily you were still able to kind of bring it home. Probably didn't have much fuel to do a burnout there for sure, but great job on the victory though. I mean, I know ISCA wins are few and far between. They're not easy to get. Um, Richmond's coming up next week. Are you happy to see COTA go, or do you want another shot at it again?
I really enjoy the I really enjoy the road courses. It's a challenge just staying on the track, right? You're not only racing the drivers, you're also racing the track. So I enjoy them. I think it brings a different driving style, to our series. So I am sick of COTA now, so I am happy to go on to Richmond, but I enjoy the road courses a lot. I just got to figure out a way to get up to there with the speeds of what Pedro was running. But nonetheless, we're going to Richmond next week, and definitely will be more comfortable there than I have been here.
Yeah, for sure. Richmond, though. So where's that rank on your list of tracks? Do you think that's going to be a good one to where we expect to see maybe, you get back on the podium again?
I wouldn't need to put in a lot of time there. I haven't raced in an official race, and I don't think I've raced in a league race there, to be honest with you, at Richmond. So it's going to take a lot of practice with the G&G boys to get dialed in, and like I've been saying, if you can get a top 5 in this league, that's phenomenal, regardless if it's Thursday night or Saturday night. So that would be the goal, is top 5, and just try to maximize stage points.
100%. Well, definitely great job to you tonight, man. Great race for sure. You led, I said, 44 laps tonight. I mean, you were one of the fastest out there, of course. Luck kind of did go your way a lot, I'd say, but you did start on the pole. You had the track position, and if you hadn't had that track position, things could have definitely went very differently for you, especially putting that sense of, I say, desperation that I think Chris Severa might have had in his race, considering, making a mistake. Once you make that mistake, you're in desperation mode, and it causes more mistakes. You never were really in that desperation mode here tonight, but great job to you. Who can we give a shout out to after this dominant finish?
Yeah, absolutely. I just want to shout out Severa. I know he had a fast car. I wish we could have dueled it out at the end. We also had different strategies if that caution had come out. So it would have been fascinating to see. He was going to make it on one stop. I was in between on what I was going to do. So nonetheless, it would have been fun to see how that played out. But I got to give a shout out to Greg for finishing podium. Great job. It's not easy to do that here. And then congratulations to Jose as well on a P3 finish. And of course, I want to give shout outs to Butt Kicker, Kenny and ISCA, or Kenny, and thank him for everything he does for the league. And then you boys in the booth, I really appreciate it.
No problem at all, Brandon. We definitely appreciate you being up here and talking with us, and definitely we leaned on you quite hard when the caution came out, and we appreciate you giving us some insight and stuff like that. It was very valuable to hear that, and we'll see you next time. Good luck at Richmond.
Thanks, Brian. Appreciate it. Have a good night.
Alrighty, that was Brandon Pasalacqua. Definitely fantastic drive from him. Fantastic drive to everybody out there, I'd say. I mean, we of course saw some guys not making it to the end. I do want to shout out Frank Flores getting a 4th place finish. Definitely awesome to see that. Triple F definitely put on a show here tonight. Also, shout out to Kenny Powell. I know that it might not have ended the way he wanted to. And another shout out again to Frank Flores. Even though he got into Kenny Powell, he tried to give the spot back. I mean, you don't see that very often. Usually most people would just like, I'm going to keep going. I'm going to get this spot. But he tried to give it back. Big shout out to Gary Adamson. Qualified on the outside pole here tonight. Fantastic performance here. I think he had a podium probably possibly maybe have been able to get a podium himself. I know that he's probably been still recovering from his injury not long ago. Of course, shout out to Chris Severa. I know that he probably is very frustrated right now, but still comes home in 7th, probably still exits this race with the points lead. But man, Big Al, man, we saw a lot of ups and downs tonight. What are your final thoughts?
I'm just happy that the drivers were able to overcome the adversity, that we placed upon them, specifically you by throwing that caution. But I'm just kidding. Yeah, I think everybody did awesome tonight, Brian, and it being such a long race, I think it was just, yeah, wow. It just goes to show the caliber of individuals, the competition you're going to get here. But really, man, a shout out to Greg Wachinski for bringing it home here in P2. I mean, he did like I said in the broadcast, they threw everything at him, every lemon they could, man, and he just kept sending it back. Lemon souffle, lemon. I mean, he did things with lemons that I could have never imagined. So, shout out to him.
100%, definitely big shout out to him. Big shout out to you, Big Al. I know, appreciate you being here with me tonight. I know you made a little bit of a mistake tonight, but it's, all in all, I'd say, it helped actually make the race a little bit more exciting. Got to see all these guys get right up there. I mean, we saw Greg Wachinski, Jose Acosta, Kenny Powell battling it out. They looked like they were battling for their lives out there for sure. So thanks for always being my partner in crime up here in the booth for sure. Big shout out to Kenny Powell for always putting on such great shows and having this ISCA still ticking. Of course, love to see every time. Of course, COTA attracted is very intimidating. So I think that's what kind of explains the little bit of a low car count we saw here tonight. But Richmond next week, I think we're going to see a lot of action there for sure. A lot of drivers going to be probably happy, as Brandon Pasalacqua kind of said, tired of COTA. And I think we all echo those sentiments for sure. But if you want to keep track of this Saturday series, make sure you do tune in next week on Saturday, about 9:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is when the broadcast will officially begin. Of course, the race will start at around, I do believe, 9:30, a little bit after 9:30. Of course, we had a little bit of a different format here this week with the no cautions for the stages. That we will have cautions back at Richmond Of course, might even have a hint of rain. No, I'm just playing. Of course, iRacing did just introduce rain to the system here. So wouldn't that be something to see ISCA with a little bit of rain? But of course, if you want to tune in on Thursday, you can also catch them at the same time. They will be at Richmond as well, a whole different cast of characters. But we appreciate everybody out there tuning in. Make sure you tune in next time for sure. This has been the ISCA. My name is Brian Britt, and of course, Big Al has been my partner in crime. And we'll see you next time, ladies and gentlemen.